Yan, isang magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Mga kabalen, welcome po sa ating programang CLTV 36 Newsstream. Opo, ako po ang inyong lingkod, Justin Dizon, makakasama ninyo sa loob ng 45 minutos. O baka naman, pagbigyan tayo ni Kuyang Jake. Baka pwede tayong mag-extend, Jake. Maraming salamat. Ayan, at ako po yung makakasama ninyo sa itong ating balitaan ngayong umaga. Hatid ko po ay balita at impormasyong makatotohanan, balita at impormasyong mapagkakatiwalaan at balita at impormasyong may paggagamitan. Ito po ang pangako sa inyo ng buong puwersa ng CLTV 36 News and Current Affairs. At syempre, yan ho ang aming pangako sa aming mahigit 1.8 million followers sa iba't ibang bahagi po syempre, ng daigdig at syempre sa ating iba't ibang social media platforms. Kaya naman ho mga kabalen, ayan, hinihikayan ko kayo. Kung hindi pa kayo naka-follow sa Facebook page ng CLTV 36 News at sa ating iba't ibang social media platforms, ayan, i-like, share, and follow nyo na. At ito pong ating programa, live ho ito, napapanood din, naka-simulcast sa Signal Channel 115 nationwide ho. Opo mga kabalen, nationwide buong Pilipinas. At syempre, Air Cable Converge Channel 71 dito po sa Central Luzon sa ating 37 cable partners. At dito sa Pampanga sa Free TV Channel 36. Yan ho mga kabalen, ang ating mga channel kung saan pwedeng mapanood ang inyong mga paboritong programa at syempre yung mga kaganapan na dapat ninyong malaman ukol po sa ating lalawigang Kapampangan at sa iba pang bahagi ng rehiyong Gitnang Luzon. Kamusta ako po? Kumusta ho kayo mga kababayan? Ito si Kuyang Justin, may gusto lamang ipaalala, lalong-lalo na ho sa mga bagong halal o yung mga na-re-elect na opisyal. Oo, tapos na ho yung eleksyon. Kung ayaw ho ninyong napupuna kayo, wag ho kayong tumakbo sa posisyon sa gobyerno. Hindi yung pag natanong kayo, sasabihin ninyong bias yung nagtatanong sa inyo. Oo, yung aga-aga nagigigil si Kuyang Justin eh. Di ba? Oo, may kilala ako, eto. May kilala ako. Oo. Wala nang sinabi kundi puro bias na lang yung media. Palibasa ayaw natatanong. Oo. Kung kayo ninyong natatanong, wag ho kayong tumakbo. Di ba? Hindi naman pwedeng i-off yung comment section dito. Public service ho yan. Hindi ho yan social media. Di ba? Palibasa, puro social media. Okay, sige, silipin natin ang traffic situation sa North Luzon Expressway. Yan. Puro social media lang kasi nakatupag. Di ba? Reminder yan sa mga nasa gobyerno. Public office is public trust. Kung hindi ho ninyo gustong natatanong ng mga tao, sasabihin niyo agad bias. Wag ho kayo tumakbo sa gobyerno. Wag ho kayo magposisyon sa gobyerno. Para hindi ho kayo napupuna. Ika nga, Di ba, Kuyang Paulo G? Good morning, Kuyang Paulo G. Yan, si Kuyang Paulo G. Mamaya makikibalita tayo. Nasaan ba si Kuyang Paulo G. Santos? Mamaya mag-aadit po ng balita. Nabalita sa atin ni Kuyang Paulo G, itong mga maluluwag na tornilyo ng Dolores Flyover. Isipin mo, tornilyo. Di ba? Ang tagal-tagal na natin binoproblema, sabihin, tapos magsasara, tornilyo. I chose violence today. Ayan. Opo, mga kabalin, talagang ganyan, di ba? Kawawa yung taong bayan pag hindi nagpa-function ng maayos yung gobyerno. Sa true lang, ika nga, di ba? Kaya naman dapat, get your acts together, so to speak. Diba? Ayan. Sinabi naman ho natin ang sitwasyon ng trapiko sa ilang bahagi po ng North Luzon Expressway sa mga oras na ito. 10:27, May 28. Narito po ang real-time traffic situation. Hatid po sa atin ng NLEX Corporation. Okay, dito muna tayo sa upper row. Dito ho sa ating leftmost box, ano, ayan pong inyong nakikita ay sitwasyon sa Balintawak Toll Plaza. At para ho sa mga papunta ng norte, patungo ng Bulacan, Pampanga, iba pang bahagi ng Central Luzon at maging ng Northern Luzon, wala hong pila dyan sa papasok ho ng Bocaue Toll Plaza sa mga oras na ito. At dyan naman ho sa may sa area yung patungo naman ng south, ano, yung southbound lane going Metro Manila, wala rin hong masyadong dapat alalahanin dyan po sa area ng Bocaue. Pero kung ikaw ay nandyan na malapit sa Mapulang Lupa, Valenzuela, ayan mga kabalen, northbound lane, ipinakikita ho sa atin ng live monitoring nitong NLEX Corporation. Ayan, asahan po mabigat na daloy ng trapiko dyan ho sa Mapulang Lupa, Valenzuela. Ayan, may talagang pagbabagal ng mga sasakyan. Hindi naman po stop ball totally, ano. Medyo moving naman, pero still ay paghandaan ho ninyo yan. Lalo na kung kayo po ika nga nanggagaling dito sa north, ano, at patungo po ng Metro Manila. Yan. Do ito northbound yung pinakikita. Check natin, double check natin. Maging sa northbound lane, ito, light naman yung situation ayon sa NLEX, batay na rin sa kanilang traffic update na inilabas itong 9:05, ano. Oo, pero ito pa ay real-time video mula po sa kanilang monitoring. Ito naman, Mindanao Toll Plaza. Ang sitwasyon ho sa Mindanao Toll Plaza, mga kabalen, at wala hong masyadong pila ng mga sasakyan dito ho sa pa-exit ng Toll Plaza o ng toll gate. At doon sa approaching naman ng North Luzon Expressway, maluwag din ho ang area sa mga oras na ito. Dito ho tayo sa lower portion, lower box, may Kawayan Interchange, magkabilang linya, fast moving ang mga sasakyan. Same scenario sa may Bocaue Toll Plaza. Wala hong aberya, wala hong problema, mabilis ang daloy ng mga sasakyan. At dito ho sa San Fernando Interchange, yung ating rightmost box sa lower row, ayan, halos wala hong sasakyan sa frame. Ayan, may isa, dalawa, tatlo, apat. Ayan, wala, maluwag ho ang sitwasyon. Pero paalala, kahit maluwag ang kalsada, mga kabalen, wag ho tayong mamabilis ng todo-todo. Ika nga, wag hong lalampas. Let us not go beyond the allowed speed. Let us follow speed limit. Ika nga, ano, para hindi tayo magkaroon ng anumang aberya sa kalsada. Sumunod ho tayo sa mga rules and regulations. Tiyakin na nasa maayos na kondisyon maging ang ating pangangatawan. Ito mga kabalen, bigyang daan muna natin ang mga nakatutok dito sa ating programa. Nagkomento si MJD Reyes. Ang aga naman yan, sabi ni MJ Allen, yung rant ko, yung vibe. Maaga talaga. Walang pinipili, syempre. Pagkatotohanan, walang pinipili. Yan, oo. Si Shirley Ignacio, yan, nanonood. Mula po sa Cristo Rey Capas Tarlac, God bless po. Magandang umaga, Shirley Ignacio Tolentino. Maraming salamat sa walang sawang pagtangkilik dito sa ating programang CLTV 36 News Stream. At syempre sa iba pang mga programa ng CLTV 36. Kumusta kayo dyan sa may Capas Tarlac? Yan, kumusta ho yung mga kababayan natin dyan sa Capas Tarlac? At syempre, kumusta rin yung mga kababayan natin sa kakalsadahan, nagtatrabaho sa kalsada? Paalala ho, mainit ang panahon ngayon, ha? At nandyan pa rin yung, syempre, binabatayan natin yung heat index. Huwag ho kalimutan uminom ng sapat na tubig. Paalala, tubig, ha? Hindi soft drinks. Kayo yan, soft drinks, eh. Hindi po, ha? Sabi ho ng DOH, sabi ng mga eksperto, tubig ang kailangang inumin ngayong kainitan ng panahon. Tubig, hindi daw soft drink. So hindi kasali yung soft drinks light o yung soft drink zero, kung tawagin. Hindi yun, hindi counted. Yung kape, hindi rin counted daw. Hindi rin daw. Sayang nga eh. So, tubig daw ho, kailangan nating inumin ng marami ngayong mainit ang panahon. And speaking of panahon, alamin ho muna ho natin, ano ba yung magiging taya ng ating panahon ngayong pong araw ng Miyerkules, May 28. Narito po ang weather report mula po sa DOST Pag-asa.
Happy Wednesday po sa ating lahat. Ako si Benison Estareja. Patuloy natin minomonitor yung low pressure area po dito sa may West Philippine Sea sa labas ng Philippine Area of Responsibility, malapit dito sa may Pag-asa Island. Itong low pressure area hindi na inaasahan na magiging bagyo, patuloy na lalayo sa ating bansa at posible na ring malusaw sa susunod po na 24 oras. However po for today, yung trough or yung outer portion nitong low pressure area ay siyang nagpapaulan sa malaking bahagi po ng Southern Luzon, Visayas and Mindanao at kitang-kita dito sa ating latest satellite animation itong mga kulay pula at kulay orange. Associated po yan sa malalakas na ulan at mga thunderstorms. Dito naman sa kanang bahagi ng ating bansa over the eastern side, andyan pa rin ang mainit na easterlies, nagko-contribute pa rin po sa maalinsangang panahon sa malaking bahagi ng ating bansa at sa may extreme northern Luzon. Andyan naman yung tinatawag na frontal system o yung linya kung saan nagsasalubong po yung easterlies na mainit at yung malabing na hangin galing sa hilaga kaya't mataas din ang mga tsansa ng ulan sa mga susunod na araw over extreme northern Luzon. Base naman sa ating analysis, bagamat madalas ang mga magiging pag-ulan natin sa mga susunod na araw, wala namang inaasa magiging bagyo na mabubuo or papasok ng ating PAR sa mga susunod na araw. Ngayong araw po ng Miyerkules, asahan ng mataas sa tsansa ng ulan dahil nga sa frontal system over Batanes and Babuyan Group of Islands. May mga kalat-kalat na ulan and thunderstorms, lalo na sa dakong hapon hanggang sa gabi, habang mataas ang tsansa ng ulan sa may Southern Luzon, lalo na sa may Mindoro provinces at lalawigan ng Romblon. Light to moderate with at times heavy rains po yan dahil dun sa trough ng low pressure area. Mag-ingat po sa mga posibleng pagbaha at pagguho ng lupa. Dito naman sa natitirang bahagi ng Mimaropa, Bicol Region, some areas in Calabarzon as well as Aurora, partly cloudy to cloudy skies po tayo at meron din chance ng mga pag-ulan. Umaga pa lamang at maaaring magpatuloy yan sa hapon hanggang sa gabi. And over Metro Manila, rest of Central Luzon and rest of Northern Luzon, fair weather conditions or minsan maaraw pa naman po sa umaga hanggang sa tanghali. May kainitan pagsapit na tanghali lalo na sa mga kapatagan at sa dakong hapon sa gabi mataas ang chance ng mga pag-ulan at mga isolated lamang na thunderstorms. Over Metro Manila, mainit pa rin po mula 26 to 34 degrees Celsius, habang sa may Baguio City naman, presko pa rin mula 17 to 26 degrees Celsius. Sa ating mga kababayan po sa lalawigan ng Palawan, as well as Western Visayas and Negros Island region, asahan po ang mataas sa tsansa ng mga pag-ulan. Even this morning, asahan na po yung mga thunderstorms over western part of Visayas dahil dun sa trough of low pressure area. So make sure na kung lalabas po ng bahay, may dalang payong or sombrero at mag-ingat sa banta ng mga baha at pagguho ng lupa. Umaga pa rin, may chance na rin ng ulan sa may Central Visayas, habang dito naman sa may eastern portions, mostly cloudy skies, lalo sa may eastern Samar, Leyte and southern Leyte dahil yan sa easterlies at sasamahan din yan ng mga kalat-kalat na ulan pagsapit ng hapon hanggang gabi. Temperatura natin sa Puerto Princesa, 25 to 31 degrees, habang may kainitan pa rin sa Metro Cebu, 27 to 32 degrees Celsius. At sa ating mga kababayan po sa Mindanao, apektado ng trough ng low pressure area ang Zamboanga Peninsula. Ito ng Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi. Mataas din po ang tsansa ng mga pag-ulan within the next 24 hours. Kaya mag-ingat pa sa banta ng baha at landslides dahil minsan magiging malakas pa rin po ang mga paulan. Dito naman sa natitirang bahagi ng Mindanao, as early as morning, may chance na po ng pag-ulan sa may eastern and southern sides, kabilang ng Surigao Provinces, Dinagat Islands, Davao Oriental, Davao Occidental, dito rin po sa bahagi ng Soc-Sargen, umaga pa lamang, magdala na po ng payong, habang sa malaking bahagi na ng Mindanao, pagsapit ng hapon hanggang sa gabi, makulimlim na ang panahon at sasamahan din po yan ng kalat-kalat na ulan at mga thunderstorms. So make sure nakaantabay tayo sa mga advisories or even heavy rainfall warnings po ng Pag-asa. Temperatura natin sa Zamboanga City, posible pa rin umakyat sa 33 degrees, habang mainit sa may Davao City hanggang 34 degrees Celsius. In terms of init, asahan po yung pinakamataas na or kahapon sa Butuan City, Agusan del Norte po nakapagtala tayo ng highest heat index na 45 degrees. Sinundan niya ng 44 degrees sa may Lawag City, Ilocos Norte and Iloilo City. Ito po yung mga dangerous levels of heat index. Gayun din sa may southern part of Metro Manila, umabot sa 42 degrees sa may Pasay, habang sa may northern portion of Metro Manila, sa Quezon City hanggang 40 degrees ang naramdamang init kahapon. Pero ngayon po, aasahan pa rin sa may Butuan City hanggang 45 degrees po na heat index. Gayun din sa Metro Manila, between 40 to 42 degrees ang maximum heat index for today. At susundan niya ng 44 degrees na delikadong heat index sa may Lawag City, Dagupan City, Apari Cagayan, and Masbate City. Kaya paalala pa rin sa ating mga kababayan na hindi naman po makakaranas ng malalakas sa mga pagulan for today. Expect pa rin po na magkakaroon pa rin ng direktang sikat ng araw na medyo masakit po sa ating katawan, sa ating balat. Kaya uminom pa rin ng tubig at magdala ng pananggalang sa init, gaya po ng payong, sombrero at para presko ang pakiramdam, magdala na rin po ng pamaypay. Base naman sa ating latest heat index map, asahan po yung mataas na tsansa ng mga delikadong heat indices sa may Ilocos region, sa mga kapatagan po ng Cagayan Valley, Aurora, Zambales, ilang bahagi pa ng Bicol Region, Northern Samar at ilang bahagi ng Caraga Region and Zamboanga Peninsula. Para sa karagdagan pa pong heat index forecast, bisitahin lamang po yung pag-asa.dosd.gov.ph/weather/heat-index. Para naman sa maglalayag nating mga kababayan, in the coming days, wala naman tayong asahang gale warning, bagamat mataas na yung tsansa ng ating mga magiging pag-ulan. May mga thunderstorms po tayo, kaya pusikat pa rin sa 1.5 metro ang taas ng mga pag-alon sa malaking baybayin po ng ating bansa. Pinakamataas dito sa may parting extreme northern Luzon, sa may Batanes, posible pa siyang umabot hanggang 2 metro. At para po sa ating 4-day weather forecast, simula po bukas, May 29, araw po ng Thursday hanggang sa unang araw ng Hunyo, magbabalik po ang tinatawag natin na southwesterly wind flow o yung hangin po na siyang nagmumula na dito sa may kaliwa or sa may timog kanluran. So ibig sabihin, mataas na ang tsansa ng ulan. Kung sa easterlies, nasa may eastern sides po, no? Pag southwestern yung hangin or southwest monsoon or southwesterly wind flow, madalas na paulan sa western side naman ng ating bansa or sa kaliwang bahagi. Yung facing the West Philippine Sea, Ilocos Region, Cordillera Region, bahagi pa po ng Central Luzon, lalo na sa may Zambales, Bataan, dito rin po sa may western side ng Southern Luzon, itong Palawan, Occidental Mindoro, Batangas, Cavite, and even Metro Manila, matang chance ng mga pag-ulan sa susunod na 4 na araw. Yung nature ng paulan po kapag meron tayong southwesterly wind flow ay medyo kakaiba rin po sa easterlies, no? Pabugso-bugso, mga light to moderate rains. At kapag malakas yung ating habagat or yung southwest wind flow, pabugso-bugso rin yung malakas na hangin at mga pag-uulan. Kaya mag-ingat pa rin sa banta ng mga pagbaha at pagguho ng lupa. Dito naman sa may extreme northern Luzon, sa may Batanes and Cagayan, within the next 4 days, aasahan din po yung mataas na chance ng ulan dahil pa rin doon sa frontal system o yung banggaan ng hangin na mainit plus malamig. Kaya makulimlim yung panahon, may mga light to moderate rains din at may chance lamang ng mga isolated thunderstorms. And over the rest of the country, aasahan pa rin yung partly cloudy to cloudy skies at may chance rin ng mga pulu-pulong mga paulan lamang, lalo na sa dakong hapon hanggang sa gabi. Given na yung southwest wind flow natin ay iiral po sa susunod na 4 na araw, mataas ang tsansa na magsisimula po yung ating tag-ulan sa mga unang araw po ng Hunyo, basta meron tayong may tatala na at least 25 millimeters sa dami ng ulan sa mga monitoring stations natin sa western side of Luzon and Visayas. Ang ating sunrise, 5:26 a.m. at ang sunset ay 6:21 ng gabi. Yan muna ang latest mula dito sa weather forecasting ng Pag-asa. Ako muli si Benison Estareja. Mag-ingat po tayo.
Maraming salamat Kuyang Benison Estareja ng DOST Pag-asa para sa ulat panahon. At Kabalen, kung kayo naman ay nagtataka ano yung heat index o forecast o yung forecasted heat index dito po sa Pampanga, At ito, base na rin sa monitoring ho ng ating Weather Bureau, DOST, pag-asa sa kanila pong Clark Weather Station. Ayan, weather station ho nila sa Clark. At ito hong 2-day forecast mga kababayan. Swerte tayo. Hindi masyadong ganun kapula. 39 degrees Celsius. At para ho ngayong araw ng Miyerkules, May 28. At para bukas, May 29, araw naman ng Huwebes, ay 39. 38 po ngayong araw. 39 ngayon, 38 bukas. Ayan. So, yan po yung forecasted heat index. Base na rin sa monitoring nitong Clark Weather Station ng DOST Pag-asa. Tuloy-tuloy ho tayo sa ating paghahatid ng balitang mapakikinabangan. Ito muna, foreign exchange muna tayo. Nagsara po ang palitan ng piso kontra dolyar nitong May 27, 2025 sa 55 pesos and 56 centavos. Yan ho, mga kabalan, ang latest foreign exchange rate. Sa ibang denomination naman, Kuyang Justin, ano yan? I-zoom natin. Ayan, wait lang Ito ho mga kabalan, sa Japanese yen, 38 centavos. Sa UK pound, 74 pesos 98 centavos. Hong Kong dollars, 7 pesos 05 centavos. Yan pong ating Saudi Riyal, 14 pesos 73 centavos. Yung dirham, 15 pesos 05 centavos. Yung euro, mga kabalan, 62 pesos 94 centavos. Ito po ang Korean won, 04 centavos at Chinese yuan, 7 pesos 69 centavos. Yan po ang foreign exchange rate as of May 27, latest available data mula po sa Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Ito naman, bigyang daan muna natin ang ating public service announcement. Opo mga kabalan, mawawalan ho ng supply ng tubig. Ito masyadong zoom out kong konti. Okay. Mawawalan ho ng supply ng tubig mga kabalan. Diyan ho sa may barangay Santo Niño and Prado Sionco sa Lubao, Pampanga. Mamaya po 1 p.m. yan hanggang 4:30 ng hapon para bigyang daan. Ito pong gagawing flushing activity ng Prime Water. Mawawalan din ho ng tubig mamaya pong alas 9 ng gabi hanggang bukas ng madaling araw 5 a.m. sa Madapdap Resettlement Center Phase 2. Particular na ho yung northern portion. Sa Mabalacat City ho yan. Para magbigay tayo ng Prime Water. Dito naman sa siyudad ng Angeles, sa Barangay Tabon, particular o kasama yung Fiesta Communities. Ayan ho, mga kabalan, mamayang alas 10 ng gabi hanggang bukas alas 4 ng madaling araw, wala rin hong tubig. Dahil magsasagawa ng flushing activity ang Prime Water. Ayan, paalala ho sa mga taga-Barangay Tabon, kasama ang Fiesta Communities. Anunsyo mula sa Prime Water, May 28. Mamaya hong gabi, 10 p.m. hanggang bukas 4 a.m. Alapong Danum. Yan ho mga kababayan ang latest power supply, water supply interruption schedule dito ho sa ilang bahagi ng Pampanga. Sa ating pagbabalik, ihahatid ko sa inyo ang detalye ng mga malalaking balitang tinutukan at tinututukan kasalukuyan ng ating pong news team. Huwag ho kayong aalis, isang mabilis na patalasas lamang, magbabalik po ang CLTV 36 News Stream. Nagbabalik po ang CLTV 36 News Stream. Ito mga kababayan, bigyang daan lang din natin. Meron ding anunsyo mula po sa Pelco One. Bukas ho ito. Okay? Araw ho ng Huwebes, May 29, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mawawalan ho ng kuryente dyan sa Barangay Buas, Bambang, Pescadores, Gulap, and San Agustin sa Candaba, Pampanga dahil sa maintenance work na gagawin ho ng Pelco One. Opo, kapabaluan, ka rin pong tao, Barangay Buas, Bambang, Pescadores, Kenggulap, Ampong, San Agustin, ala pong kuryente bukas. Ken pong Candaba yan, Candaba, Pampanga, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. bukas dahil nga sa pole and line maintenance na gagawin ng Pelco One. Meron pa. Kasali rin yung Barangay Paralaya at Santa Rosario sa nasabing scheduled power supply interruption. Okay? Barangay Paralaya and Santa Rosario sa Candaba, 9 a.m. hanggang 4 p.m. Ala pong kuryente. Kaya be mo naman yung Barangay Buas, Bambang, Pescadores, Gulap, and San Agustin. Yan ho mga kababayan, ang latest public service announcement kaugnay ho ng supply ng kuryente dyan sa bayan ng Candaba, Pampanga. Kabalen, alam niyo ho ba na ongoing? Actually, hindi nga ongoing na parang nabinbin. Oo, pero ito, ginagawa. Baka lang nakakalimutan nating lahat na kumusta na nga ba itong Tulaok flyover. Oo, alam naman ho natin, background lamang, ay taong 2023, okay? Nang tayo po'y gulatin ng pagbaha. Ang dahilan, siyempre habagat, usual naman yan. Pero binaha ang North Luzon Expressway, at particular yan pong area ng Tulaok. Maliit lang, wala mang kilometro halos yung span na sinakop ng baha. Pero medyo siyempre malalim, hindi makadaan ang mga sasakyan. Ang resulta, katakot-takot po na daloy katakot-takot na pagbigat ng daloy ng trapiko. Imagine this, for those who did not experience ito pong Carmageddon kung tawagin dyan sa NLEX noong 2023. Isipin niyo po, ang inyong lingkod. Yan. Ang inyo pong lingkod, isipin ninyo, nang galing ng siyudad San Fernando, bumiyahe kasama syempre ang ating news team. Naka-live tayo. Nagpunta tayo ng San Simon. It took us 4 hours and plus minutes to reach our destination. Whereas normally, nasa 15 to 20 minutes, wala pa nga yata yung distansya na yan dahil napakalapit, about 9 kilometers kung di ako nagkakamali. Pero it took us 4 hours, more than 4 hours to exit. Pagpasok ko namin, mula pumasok kami ng San Fernando, it took us 4 hours to exit the North Luzon Expressway in San Simon, during that day, nung kasagsagan ho ng mabigat na daloy ng trapiko dyan sa NLEX. Kaya naman, kailangan itaas yung bahagi ng kalsada na yun para hindi nabahayan. Ang problema, syempre, pag tinaas ang kalsada, matatamaan ang vertical clearance dahil may tulay sa itaas. So, kailangan ding itaas ngayon ng tulay. Kaso ho, okay, baka probably we are seeing progress. Especially kung tayo po yung nagdaraan ng North Luzon Expressway. Pero, para ho sa mga kababayan nating naninirahan dyan sa bayan ng San Simon, na kung saan yan hong Tulaok Bridge ay isang napakalahagang nangaos kanina, istruktura na para ho sila ay mabigyan ng access palabas ng kanilang bayan patungo ho ng ibang mga bayan dito sa Pampanga. Abay, panawagan ho nila, madaliin naman ang pagsasaayos. Binisita ho ng ating kasamang si Paulo G. Santos, yan ho ng Tulaok Bridge. Narito po ang kanyang ulat, mga kababayan.
Ay infrastruktura dito ho tayo sa Central Luzon, mga kaibigan, at eto hong nakikita ho ninyo ngayon ay ang karatula, abiso sa publiko, mga kaibigan, para kabisado ho nila ito hong nagiging takbo ho ng development sa mga major infrastructure na gaya ho ng tulay, mga kaibigan. Nandito ho tayo ngayon dito sa Tulaok, San Simon, na ito hong kontrobersyal, mga kaibigan, na tulay. Isa ho ito dun sa mga pinakikitunguhan na mababa ho yung vertical clearance dahil nung binaha, ang dami ho, Carmageddon ho senaryo. Ang nakikita ho natin dito ho sa abiso sa publiko, for your information, mga kaibigan, ito ho ay naumpisahan June 17, 2024. Mukha yatang stapler yung completion ng date niya. So, sa inyo hong kaalaman, lalo-lalo na ho yung mga netizen na nagpapabatid ho sa amin ng impormasyon kung kailan matatapos ito, dahil pasukan na, January 15, 2026 pa pala. So, ito ho ngayon ang senaryo, mga kaibigan, dahil ito hong tulay ho na to, napakahalaga, dahil yung mga kababayan ho natin dito ho sa kabilang panig ho ng bayan, Tulaok pa rin ho ito, naglalakad, nagtitiis ho na maglakad, mga kaibigan, dahil ho sarado pa ito hong Tulaok Bridge. At ang nakikita ho natin dito, mga kaibigan, na iposisyon na yung mga poste, yung haligi, ito ho yung portion ho ng Tulaok Bridge, mga kaibigan, na nung pong nakalipas ho na panahon, pinaha ho dyan. At ito pong pinakarampa, mga kaibigan, o ito hong outer lane, malalim ho yung tubig. Kaya yung mga truck, lang ho nakakadaan, at yung mga light vehicle nandun ho sa parteng inner lane. At totoo, mga kaibigan, ang nirereklamo ho ngayon ito pong mga residente ho dito, kung paano ho mapapabilis ho sana itong konstruksyon, dahil nagtitiis ho sa paglalakad yung pong mga kababayan ho natin dito, at lalong-lalo na ho pagkapasukan. Ang isa ho sa mga teorya ho nito pong mga residente ho dito kung bakit hindi ho natutuloy, dahil sa pag-install ho nito pong mga bakal o haligi gagamit ng boom, ito naman hong kawad ho ng kuryente mula ho dito ho sa poste ng NGCP. Pakinggan ho natin yung ating mga kababayan. Gaano ho ka problemado ito pong kalsadang ito kapag ho pasukan? Nanay, nahihirapan po kayo?
Opo, siyempre yung naglalakad yung mga anak namin. Nahihirapan silang lilipat dyan. Saan pa dumadaan? Doon.
Iikot pa ho ng Santa Monica?
Oo, doon.
Pagka sinira yan.
Pagka sinara.
Pag isinara po yung daan na yan, yung tuloy na yan, kasalukuyan ginagawa, madalang mga mangyayari po niyan, mga estudyante sa kabilang bakod lang po.
Oh.
Iikot po ng Santa Monica. Siguro mga 2 kilometers yung ikotin ng sasakyan. Lalakarin ba ng bata yun?
So yung dating hindi na mamasahe, mamamasahe ho sila.
Dagdag gastos. Dagdag gastos sa magulang yung ano.
Opo.
Kaya dapat, gawin mo nila ito, dapat gawa ng daan ng tao, kahit na tao lang ang pwede dumaan.
Oh, so yung isa ho yun sa pakiusap po ninyo.
Hindi kasi kung pwedeng
pero mga-
dapat nila yan,
Mm.
walang diretsang taong makadaan. Eh, paano naman po yung dito lang sa kabilang baryo lang nag-aaral yung mga bata, kabilang baryo lang mga galing. Eh, kawawa naman po yung magulang nila.
Ay siya ka. Oo. Ano, dito ho sa usapin na kung paano ho yung disenyo ho ng construction ho nito habang ginagawa, kung pwedeng daanan ng tao, malalaman din ho natin yan. No? Pero sa kapakanan ho ng marami, mga kaibigan, dami ho kasi nagtatanong ho sa amin sa CLTV 36 News. Sana naman ma-cover ninyo at malaman natin itong magiging takbo ng construction dito sa Tulaok Bridge. Dahil hanggang sa kasalukuyan, ayan, nakikita ho ninyo, nakasara ho yan.
Nakita po 3 months yung makasara, pero hindi pa inuumpisahan.
Hindi pa inumpisahan.
Laking period sa mga sa mga motorista, sa mga passenger.
Oh,
Kasi pag dito 60 lang ang pamasahe. Plaza, Tutulaok.
oh,
Pag umikot, 90. O sayang naman po yung 30 pesos na mawawala sa kanila.
so dagdag pa talaga.
Hindi pwedeng hindi dadagdag kasi umiikot po eh.
Okay, so alam nyo mga kaibigan, kung saan babasa ho namin comment. Bakit nung kaigihan ng mainit na panahon, araw, hindi binumpisahan, di ba?
Tatagulan
Usapin ho yan ng pondo. Kung yan ho talaga nagkaroon ho ng pondo at paano ho yung funding. Kasi sa nakikita kong presyo doon, higit sa 100 milyong piso yung pong gastos, no?
Yan po, nakikita yung
malaki.
price dyan, napakalaki po niyan. Pero hindi pa inumpisahan, paano magamit yan? Yung materials po, nandito na yung iba.
Mhm.
Pero kung umpisahan yan, dapat umpa. Malapit na po magtagulan, kawawa yung mga tao rito.
Ano pangalan nyo, Kuyang?
Lincoln Sanchez.
Nico.
Lincoln.
Si Kuyang Lincoln Sanchez. At ito ho, gaya ho ng mga nagsiservice ho, nagde-deliver ho ng tubig.
Hindi makalipas yan,
Oo.
buhatin nila yung gano'n.
Bubuhatin ho, mano-mano. No? So yan ho, ang daing ho, nito pong ating pong mga kababayan, serbisyo publiko mga kaibigan sa CLTV 36, Abak na Balit, yung likod, Paulo G. Santos, anytime, anywhere, at sa panig ho ng DPWH at sa kontraktor nito pong naturang infrastruktura. Abangan po ninyo yan sa CLTV 36 News. Bantay infrastruktura.
Yan ho mga kababayan, ang ulat ni Kuyang Paulo G. Santos. Kaugnay ho niyang construction ng Tulaok Bridge dyan ho sa San Simon, Pampanga. May mga agam-agam itong mga residente siyempre na nagpaabot ho ng kanilang concern sa CLTV 36 News. Kaya naman ho ating binisita yung lugar. At ngayon po isinisikap din ni Kuyang Paulo G na makuha yung panig siyempre ng DPWH kaugnay na itong development. At nakalagay naman dyan January 15, 2026 yung target na completion date. Do may tamper ho. Sikapin natin linawin kung ito ba na-adjust ba, na-move, or napaaga ba, o basta na-extend. Yan ho iaalamin natin sa DPWH. Yan mga kabalen. At ako po'y magpapaalam na sa telebisyon. Pero hindi ko po tatapusin itong CLTV 36 news stream, hindi ko ikakat dahil tutukan natin, ongoing ho yung committee hearing ng Kongreso, ng Committee on Education. Pakinggan ho natin yung kanilang talakayan dahil pondo ng bayan ang pinag-uusapan at syempre maya't maya magpapasok din ho kami ng mga balita na nakakalap ng ating news team. At dito ho, syempre sa lalawigang Kapampangan, sa Central Luzon at iba pang mga balita na dapat ninyong malaman. Syempre, para ho tayo makapagdesisyon ng tama sa ating pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay. Muli ito po si Justin Dizon at maraming salamat ho sa pagtutok dito sa CLTV 36 News Stream. At tuloy-tuloy ang ating streaming. Iwanan ko sa inyo itong live committee hearing sa Kongreso. Kaugnay ho ng iba't ibang usapin sa ating sektor ng edukasyon. Mahalaga po ito, makialam tayo dahil gaya na binanggit ko, pondo ho ng bayan yung ginagamit nila. Pondo ho ng bayan ang pinag-uusapan. Narito po ang committee hearing dyan ho sa Kongreso, mga kabalen.
To take the college entrance exam at kung pasado na sila, ay pwede na silang dumiretso ng college. They save 1 year.
Actually, under the past bill, past grade 10, pwede na. After grade 10. Sa amin, grade 10 na, pinsan na namin yun eh. And I think Dr. Fermin, Dr. Elipania confirms na baka pwede nyo pag-isipan yun. Mag-entrance exam. And again, hindi natin tinatanggal ang K-12 because that is your concern. Ayaw nyo mawala ang K-12, di ba? Because it's some, ayaw ko, meron ba may international commitment siguro eh. So hindi natin tinatanggal ang K-12. Sinasabi lang natin, may option ng bata after grade 10, after grade 11, if he or she thinks na ready na siya at pumasya siya ng entrance exam ng UP at pumayag ka, then diretso na siya doon. Pwede yun. Can DepEd do that as a policy without a law?
Not sure if I can answer that for certain, but we'll consider that, Mr. Chair. Definitely.
Kasi imposible naman that you'll implement it now, di ba? But do you think it is, kasi kung hindi, we have a law, actually kami pasado eh, but we can refile it. But then kung hindi naman namin kailangan, kung hindi naman natin kailangan para may flexibility kayo, yes, hindi nyo tinatanggal ang K-12. K-12 will exist because there are certain students who still want to go through 11 and 12. Yes. Pag-usapan pa natin. But anyway.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Duly.
But ASEC, Janier, pwede bang makonsider ng DepEd yun? I know hindi for this coming.
Consider, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Can I ask lang DepEd? Ched, Dr. Fermin, Dr. Lipanyo, what do you think of that? Of course, kung batas, wala naman choice, ano? Pero would you have any objections to DepEd, if DepEd can do that they have a policy on that matter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually po, Dr. Lipan and I were talking, meron pong current mechanism ang DepEd to determine if a student can advance or skip a level right now. Yun po yung acceleration. Nagpalit po ba tayo ng proseso sa acceleration as of the moment? Ang curriculum po, curriculum and teaching. Do we still practice acceleration? Because years back, there are people who can skip a level. Apo. Ang naisip lang po namin, kung may mechanism tayo na ganon, and all the criteria or parameters are accounted for naman, baka nga pwede yung early exit at 10th grade as long as nandun yung indicators kailangan nung bata na yon.
I'll have to check, Mr. Chair, because
Curriculum dito sa DepEd?
we are the curriculum, Mr. Chair.
O grade 10 or 11, kahit if 10 is too young for you, 11. Doon yun yung exit. Kasi electives lang naman ng 12 eh.
Sa electives lang yung grade 12 na i-advance placement mo rin naman to earn it eh.
We have a placement test. It's not an acceleration program per se. And so we administer the test.
What is this placement test?
I ask Director Neil, sir.
Mr. Chair, we have the placement test, meaning if a certain student wala na siya sa basic ed over age siya, he can avail the placement test. Once na may result na pwede na siyang tanggapin ng colleges and universities na na-acquire niya lahat ng competencies in the basic education,
Age requirement?
kailangan po hindi sila school age.
Oh, that's different.
Apo.
That's different.
Sir, for laggards naman. Naghahabol, in short.
Yes. So if you could do that, or ang basis niyo is yung ALS. Oo. Could you take a look? Baka naman pwede. Hindi natin tinatanggal ang K-12, ah. K-12 will remain. Because I'm sure marami pa rin gusto mag-11 and 12. Simply because baka fee pa sila mag-aral. Plus if you will make it more fun, at least yung basics lang ma-reinforce sa kanila doon. But may exit. Yung sa bill namin, grade 10. Pero sabi nga ni Ma'am Honorable Stella, kahit grade 11 yung gawin yung exit ninyo, without a law, kasi anyway, electives na after that eh. Baka pwede nyo i-consider?
We'll consider that, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Yes, Dr. Fermin?
Mr. Chair, just an additional item to that. Baka po dapat ang iniisip natin, baka hindi po si DepEd yung mag-a-administer ng test. Si CHED po yan. Kasi po, it's the higher education institution who can make decisions on, okay, for this type of students na medyo accelerated na nga siya, okay, then we will place you immediately to the advanced courses. May ganyan po ngayon. Ang UP meron pong advanced placement test for certain subjects in GE. Nasiskip nyo po yung I don't know kung nagbago yung policy, pero may ganun pong
No,
advanced placement siya.
Chair. Yeah, I mean, I get it that when you reach college, I get it. Pero itong pinag-uusapan natin is yung admission to college eh. So, parang hindi ba DepEd ang magsasabi na this child is now ready to take the college entrance exam? Ibig sabihin, oo, na-fulfill ang competencies ng secondary education and is now ready to move to tertiary education. Parang iba yata yung sinasabi ni Dr. Fermin na at iba yun eh, advanced placement yun pag nakasampa ka na sa college. So, kasi di ba like katulad nga kami, di ba, nung iba kasi yung curriculum namin, pero yung sa amin kasi, it's a very simple one, pero nakapag-trigonometry po kami. Nakapag-basic economics din kami. Meron din kaming basic statistics. Di ba? It's a very simple curriculum. Pero, we were college ready at age ranging from 15 to 17. So, yun ang kaya ko tinatanong sa inyo, Chad, in the last hearing, ano bang nagbago sa mundo? Na bakit natin kinailangan itong academic track na dagdag 2 taon? Sobra bang naging mas mahirap? Tumaas ba ang standards ng colleges for global reasons? I mean, let us know. Ano yung rasyo kung bakit ang mga magulang ay kailangan magdagdag ng 2 more years of expenses and they delay entry into the labor market for their kids ng 2 years. Mabigat po talaga yon. So explain to us and then only to find out, nagbe-bridge program lang pala sila. So yun ang pinakamasakit sa lahat, Dr. Fermin. Sana po naiintindihan ninyo yung reason. Yung Tech Pro, wag na natin kasi I think that's cut and dried. Maliwanag yung issues doon and yes, talagang kailangan ng 2 years pa doon. But ito yung academic track ang problematic.
Madam Chair, thank you po for...
Dr. Fermin, answer first the first question. Hindi dapat CHED, pero DepEd, because DepEd is the department that will say ready na ang bata, ang learner for college. Yes, hindi naman kayo ang sasalo. So, you proposed kasi na dapat CHED ang magbigay ng exam. But do you agree after thinking about it na tama, DepEd dapat?
Yes, Chair. To a great extent, tama naman po. No? Ang iniisip lang po namin, meron pong program-specific requirements. Halimbawa po, may competencies na kailangan ng architecture, ang engineering, and so on and so forth. So, pwede po kasi siya maging part ng pinaka-admission exam na i-administer ng university. Halimbawa po, mag-apply ako ng degree program ng biology, for instance. Pwede ko pong lagyan.
Dr. Fermin, that will be up to the individual colleges and
Opo.
universities na.
That's
But
right, Mr.
saying
Chair.
that the learner is already has completed all competencies and makes
Opo.
that learner prepared for college, that is within the sphere of DepEd.
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yung sa inyo, that will be in your... And I assume, magko-consult naman sila
Opo.
nung competencies na required. Di naman, you don't live in a vacuum, di ba?
Mm-mm.
So, now the next queries naman.
Apo. So, ang where I'm coming from, Mr. Chair, from the analysis that we conducted, no, we compared jurisdictions na meron pong G component talaga yung higher ed. Baka po magulat kayo sa sasabihin ko, currently po, sa laki ng GA component ng higher ed natin, lumalabas po, 42% ng credit structure natin ay GE. So, lumalabas, lahat ng graduates natin ng higher ed ay minor in GE. Ganun po siya lumalabas. Bakit? Kasi po, umulit yung configuration ng exit courses natin in the key disciplines dun sa pagkakadisenyo ng higher ed kahit po may college readiness standards. Again, this is a function, Mr. Chair, of agencies not really sitting down and talking about the expectations. Plus the fact that iba po yung nakitang proseso ng mga technical panel. Nabawasan tayo ng X number of units sa G kasi from 63 naging 36 po. Ang naging disposition naman ng mga technical experts, now we could put in the courses we were not able to put in before. Without having been able to create a real industry mapping, Honorable Kimbo, of what is really expected pag sumampa sila ng trabaho. So, ang napansin ko po, may mga naipon na subjects in certain disciplines na pwede nang nawala at nag-concentrate lang sila dun sa mas kailangan ngayon as industries have also rapidly changed. An example po is in the IT curriculum, may isa pong programming language doon na hindi na talaga ginagamit ng industriya pero nandun pa rin. So yung review process po ngayon dapat, kaya nga po ni-reconstitute ng CHED ang mga technical panels, may nakaupong industry specialist para magabayan sila na kapag nireview natin ang curriculum, tanggalin nyo yung hindi natin kailangan. Kaya po tama yung hypothesis natin, dapat talaga hindi siya humaba ng humaba.
I don't know if I actually will get the actual copy. May PIDS study. The PIDS study in fact said that nung nagbawas ng GE subjects, ang ginawa naman ng technical panels nag-add. Ang problema, nung nag-add sila, sumobra naman sila sa international standards. Gusto natin mas matindi. So dinapasan natin yung global standards. That's the PIDS study. Oh, yes. Yes, pero sabi ng PIDS study, ang ginawa natin, we went over and beyond. But yung sad reality, kahit we went over and beyond, na-congest lang natin, nakawawa talaga yung student. Maraming hindi nakatapos. So, could you get things working? Oh yes, sige, KM.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, just to also share the other findings of the PIDS study. So, kinumpare po nila GE, tapos major courses, pati internships across Europe, US, Australia, ASEAN, Philippines. And the data shows that yung big picture nila is that we are GE heavy, internship light, and also very heavy in terms of all the coursework, pero mababaw in terms of what the knowledge and the skills are after. So, ganun siya nangyari. Puro theoretical, puro coursework, walang hands-on training, tapos sobrang daming majors and GEs.
So, Dr.
Yes.
Devi,
So, yun yung po
Fermin,
kailangan nating ayusin.
wala kayo dati sa technical panels na to. So, ngayon lang probably ang reforms na mangyayari. Pero hopefully,
Ginagawa ng
worth
CHED,
it na.
Chair. Ginagawa
alam
ng
mo na,
CHED.
alam mo na.
Pasensya na po, CHED, ha? Hindi po yun ang trabaho ninyo.
Bago si Dr. Fermin at Dr. Ipani.
That is
Yeah.
the reason for why you exist, Chad. Hindi po ba? Tama, di ba? So sana po.
Can we go now to your
tignan
second
natin.
issue?
Yes.
Yung second issue na which wala talaga sa agenda today,
Yung bridge.
yung bridge, okay na tayo. Tatanggalin na nila.
Sorry,
Hindi. Wala nang kailangan na bridge. Wala. Ang second issue
tama.
ko yung...
So we are in agreement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sa pati si Dr. KM,
Yes.
sa bridging program, ano
Matatanggal siya
yung
Sige.
curriculum.
ni
So,
Dr.
ma'am, just to share, kasi kanina I was reflecting, based on my understanding, unang-una, yung pagkaunawa ko po sa pagpapaliwanag ng DepEd dati, because I've seen this presentation in the past, is wala nang, yung cluster, ma'am, is just the menu of electives. But when you graduate, you are just a senior high school graduate, regardless of what electives you took. So, parang generic SHS graduate ka. To your point, ma'am, may possibility ba na humaba? Posible yun kasi may prerequisite talaga yung ibang courses. And kung hindi yung tinake ng tao kasi hindi natin na-require because nagkaroon ng primacy ang student choice, you can still be required to do it. What is critical, I think, for me, is that the electives be co-formulated by DepEd and CHED. Kasi yung electives na yon, kumbaga, ang kinuha ko is, I don't know, art in the contemporary world. Hindi ko man siya makikredit towards my engineering course, may electives ako. Doon ko siya ikikredit.
Correct.
So, net, hindi naman madadagdagan kung madedesign nila properly yung both electives and possible prerequisites. So those are the two things. The
And that should
prerequisite,
have been done.
they should do it. Opo, they should do it.
Yeah.
Opo, they should do it. So dapat the electives should consider what prerequisites students might need to take
Yes.
pursuing some college courses that we know naman are the most in demand. Kasi alam naman natin po kung ano yun. Dapat available yun sa menu. Ikalawa, yung electives na ibibigay dapat ng DepEd, dapat may correspondence with the electives that CHED will credit. So
Yes.
that hindi siya madadagdag sa harapan, pwede din siyang ibawas sa likod. Parang ganun po. Yun.
And the option is open.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Last
yes.
question, promise, Chair, in
Meron
relation
pang
to
isang
that.
issue na malaki.
Hindi, pero in relation lang to this, nanganak lang. So tama, di ba? Either magbabawas ka ng panahon sa high school or sa college. So I think we're all in agreement. So ang tanong kasi is, I think the answer to that is sa faculty competence eh. Kasi magbabawas ako sa high school kung yung competence naman talaga ay nasa college. So yun yung akin eh. Pasensya na po ha. Kasi bakit tayo magpipilit ng pagtuturo ng isang elective kung yung pagtuturo ng elective na yan ay nandun naman sa college level, di ba? So yun ang akin. Di ba? Yung magdadagdag tayo ng resources for teacher training sa DepEd. Eh, dagdag budget yon, oras, etc., etc., pahirap sa teachers, ganon. So yun ang dapat pag-isipan, di ba po? Sa inyong pag-uusap, sana critical factor yon doon sa pag-determine kung ano bang ilalagay natin dito sa high school at ano ilalagay natin sa college. Kasi in the end, ganon din naman yon. Kung anong iti-take ng bata sa senior high school, i-advanced placement exam din niya yan sa college eh. So kung hindi siya mag-meet ng standard sa college, pasensya na po, i-retake ng bata. Di ba? So dagdag gastos, dagdag panahon, hindi natin na-manage yung expectations ng pamilya. So, yun yung akin.
Yes. And sir, if I can just
Yes.
comment on that point for consideration of DepEd and the committee, magandang point yun. And I think kaya kailangan nating lumabas dun sa pananaw na dapat let passer, plantilla holder, full-time, lahat ng SHS teachers. Because we need to hire actual practitioners with expertise na magturo ng ganong electives. Kasi kung pipilitin natin na si let teacher graduate in elementary or graduate in secondary, tapos siya yung pagtuturuin natin ng electives na very specialized, we will not be able to achieve the desired outcome. So,
Bill namin,
ayun, yun.
para sa college mo na lang ilagay.
Yeah. Parang ganun lang, sir. Parang ganun.
Pero this morning, klaro tayo.
Yes.
DepEd, CHED, klaro tayo. The new proposed senior high school curriculum will be 5 subjects pa rin siya. 5 mandatory
5 core
for
subjects, yes, Mr.
for grade 11. Sa grade 12, electives na 5.
About 5 to 7, Mr. Chair.
5 to
Yes, sir.
7 na electives. Hindi pa, that's the second point. Yung second point now, yung 5 core subjects, these 5 core subjects mirror the competencies of 5 GE subjects in first year college.
Yes,
So,
Mr. Chair.
effectively, yes, pwede mo na ma-APE yun eventually. Baka. Yung 5, tatanggalin nyo na pala yun. So, wala na siya. Bawas na tayo ng 15 units. Yung 3 GE subjects na pagkasunduan na ng CHED at DepEd, that can be found in Arts, Aralin Panlipunan, and GMRC nung grades 1 to 12 natin. So, tatanggalin na rin yun. So, 24 units ang matatanggal sa college. And possibly, yun yung makakabawas ng 4 years to 3.5. 1 SEM, makakabawas tayo ng 1 SEM. Ngayon, pagdating sa, yung isang titingnan ngayon ni Asik Janir ng buong DepEd, is that even without, kasi sa amin pasado, but it needs both houses to become a law. Even without a law, pwede ba na magawa ng DepEd na may exit points after grade 10 or grade 11 kung yun na mas comfortable kayo after your core subjects? After may core, pwedeng makadiretso na silang kolehiyo without taking the grade 12 anymore. Tama yon?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. So you will, ito naman for the next academic calendar na. Imposible
Yes,
na
Mr.
ngayon.
Chair.
Academic calendar na yon, Then, again, whatever change, yung electives ninyo, for grade, assuming piliin ng bata mag-grade 12 pa rin, or sabihin, yun talaga yung, you will consult with CHED on the competencies the required sa colleges ng electives ninyo na kahit pa paano nagmamatch naman. And then, as Honorable Stella has suggested, yung hindi naman kaya talaga ng DepEd wag na nating ilagay sa DepEd. Iwan na natin sa colleges yon. Like I think last week yung applied economics na yun, di ba? Na-mention.
Sure, kahit ako mahirapan ako magturo.
Oh.
Eh. May
So,
postdoc pa ako sa economics, ha?
Asik Janir, okay tayo doon? DepEd family?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Anything you want to add before we go to that next point na I want to bring up na kinat ko lang kanina, but I want to go back to that with Shed. Meron pa. At least with the academic track, okay na tayo. Dr. Fermin, Dr. Ilpane, with this academic track, okay na tayo. With yung assignment nila and yung consultations niyo. Well, now going to that point of Honorable Stella na sabi ko hindi naman yun yung point today, but important yun. This happens now in our colleges. That's why that is one reason for the bridging. Kasi nag-budget na ang Kongreso ng a certain amount, hindi sapat yun pumasa. Kaya magbi-bridge na lang kayo para magamit lahat ng pondong binigay ng That's it? That's correct?
Chair, again, I'm only speaking from the data we got from the
Yes.
Visayas. Mas marami po doon na private school. So, na nagbi-bridge. So, one hypothesis lang po, no? Hindi kami sure kasi nagkaroon po ng massive displacement
Yes.
ng faculty at that time. So, yeah, it's a money issue kasi po, saan nila dadalhin yung mga tenured faculty at that time? So, some of them were
Yeah.
actually,
Get
you know,
yeah.
asked to create
Yeah.
those bridging courses na message na just nakukulangan kami sa graduate ng senior high. So may ganun pong anggulo. Bukod pa po dun sa possibility nga na sa mga public colleges and universities,
It
baka yun
happens.
ang nangyari.
Yes.
Para sa SUCs and LUCs, it's just a matter of Shed issuing an order na please, all SUCs and LUCs, paki-report sa amin if you have a bridging program, and if so, historically, is lahat ng naging estudyante nyo from the time that you introduce a bridge program, pakisubmit sa amin para makumpleto po ninyo ang report ninyo at masubmit po sa amin. Kasi importante sa amin na malaman ilan ba talaga ang nagbe-bridging program, at least for the SUCs and LUCs. Kasi ibang issue yung sa private.
Yes, Madam Chair, that's why we included that in our zonal consultations and data gathering procedure. Meron pa po kami natitirang 2 pang zonal consultations, one in Mindanao happening on Friday, and another one in NCR and Calabarzon, June the 5th. By that time po, mako-consolidate namin yung information.
Universities, parang itong nasa UK system na parang ito yung A-levels ba yan? Parang ganoon before, it's like a prep school before you go to college. Parang ganon.
Nagka-community colleges tayo.
Or something like that.
But Dr. Fermin, again, kasama rin ba sa data na isasubmit niyo sa amin, yung mga SUCs and LUCs that did not admit a learner in a particular course, engineering, simply because hindi STEM yung kasi may reports na kaming gano'n,
I think po, pwede naman nating makuha yung
At marami
information.
yun. LUCs isama nyo because I think nakabit ninyo yun sa sa voucher system nila. Kung hindi sila mag-comply sa minimum requirements niyo, hindi nyo na ifa-fund yung tuition fee nila under Unifast. So kasama yun I think yun ang sinabi sa amin ng ibang LUCs na ginagawa sa kanila. So could you include that? Again, we only want this data so that we can correct things. Yun lang naman yung hinabol. Moving forward, ano pa ang pwede natin magawa para hindi kawawa yung learner at yung pamilya niya? Yun lang naman yun So wag tayong mahiya, wag natin i-shortcut, wag natin itago. Because actually, sinabi na sa akin ng LUCs, ang dami sa kanila yun
Tsaka, idagdag ko na rin kasi we're asking information from the LUCs and SUCs. Yung mga number of students na hindi na-admit initially on the basis of the admissions test, and then they had to appeal. Kasi maraming ganon sa amin na the initial pass is napakataas ng standards, and then all of a sudden, they will have to go through an appeal process. And then, so ilan yung that got admitted through the test and through the appeal? So ilan yun?
Again, wag tayong magkayaan, Dr. Fermina. If the reason is what was earlier stated by Honorable Stella with respect to LUCs and SUCs, lalo na SUCs, I think kailangan makorek yun eh. Di ba? Kasi hindi rin fair yun eh, na para lang maubos yung budget. Assuming that's correct, that hindi rin tama yun eh. Exactly, that's the in fact, hindi ko na, when you brought it up, ayoko lang yun, pero issue yun Dr. Fermin, sana you help us out there. Not that babawasan natin. Ang point is, there must be a way to move forward in this matter na hindi mapepwersa yung SUC na tanggap lang ng tanggap para lang hindi mawala yung budget niya. Di ba? Oo, kung hindi, oo eh. Yeah. Kung hindi, the free college did, was also, had bad effects, di ba?
Mr. Chair, kay Mr. Edison, pabantayan din yung yung mga college admission policies natin na yung mga taga-probinsya na gustong makapag-aral, lalong-lalo na dito sa metro.
Sa PIPSU.
May mga, 'di ba, may mga courses pa na wala sa mga probinsya na gusto mag-aral sa metro, bantayan lang din.
Hindi na kasi napag-usapan ni yung tungkol sa teachers. You have 16,000 new items o 10,000? Ano ba yung totoo?
May I ask Director Ram if you can respond to that, please?
Yes. That's who,
HR po.
yeah.
Director Bermudez.
Director
Good morning,
Bermudez.
everyone. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Yes, we have 16,000 new teachers po.
And hiningi ng DepEd, ilan ang hiningi ng DepEd? 16 or more than 16?
We have actually requested for 20,000, pero
Bakit nyo rin-request? Ibig sabihin, kulang na kulang yung teachers rin natin?
yes, sir, because based on our data, there is that shortage of 32,000 teachers. So, initially,
para klaro sa mind ko, for DepEd schools. So even with the cutting of the reduction of number of core subjects from 16 to 5 and puro electives na yung 12, walang masesesante, walang mawawala ng trabaho kasi kulang pa nga kayo. Is that correct?
tama po, sir. Tama.
So there is no fear na merong mawawala ng trabaho na teacher, correct?
Yes, based on the data that we have on the teacher inventory for senior high school, we have enough for senior high school.
Kasi ang baka mami ang next issue kasi nung iba is that kung bawasan from 16 to 15 ang up to 5 yung core, tapos electives yung 12 or kaya may acceleration, ay mawawalan ng trabaho. Biglang DepEd will start firing teachers. That will never happen.
Mangyayari yan,
Never.
sir. Yes,
So
sir.
that will never be an issue.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Para klaro tayo doon. Kasi baka mamaya meron na namang issue na ganyan. But kaya nagulat ako, ba't may nagtanong sa akin dati noon, alam natin na kulang nga kayo ng teachers eh. That is why you're requesting for more teacher items. You were granted less than what you in fact requested. That's correct? Correct?
Po, sir, that's correct po.
Okay. So with that, parang at least medyo okay na tayo dyan sa sa issue na yan. Yung sa last na, yung sa tech VOC natin. So anong ulit mangyayari dito? Will we go beyond NC2 or hindi?
Mr. Chair, we have a presentation for that.
Yes.
And may I request
Yes,
po,
Secretary.
Director
Yes.
Mark to present that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, As Engineer. Good morning, Mr. Chair, honorable members of the committee. So I'm here to present updates for TechPro. Nabanggit niyo po kanina, Mr. Chair, na marami tayong issues sa TechPro. Job readiness for work, NCs, NC2s that are mostly crowded in senior high school. And ang reklamo ng ating industriya, kailangan mas upgraded pa yung skills eh. And then thirdly, yung alignment natin sa TVIs in terms of offering. So niniwala po kami na kailangan talaga palakasin ng TechPro. Kasi from our experience, pag nabigyan ng trabaho yung bata, nagbabago yung buhay ng pamilya and the individual. And there are many pathways after that. So we'd like to answer some of those questions, Mr. Chair. And the first question, it is not to simplistically set aside issues with this question. Can TechPro electives be better streamlined to match industry needs? Our answer is yes. Answer is yes. And let me just justify that. After the hearing, we have regrouped and consulted various stakeholders, Mr. Chair, TESDA, CHED, industry boards to align all our concerns and initiatives and plans moving forward. So DepEd has undertaken a remapping and reclustering of TechPro electives. It used to be just 4. We found that it's too simple. It doesn't really reflect or mirror what industry needs, what our country needs. It's not really aligned with what TESDA has, what what CHED has. And so directly to address that, we have aligned these with the workforce requirements of key regions and industries across the country. And this approach is grounded based on the latest labor market intelligence reports from DOLE, BOI, TESDA, PSA, EDCOM2, and DTI. No? It's not comprehensive yet, Mr. Chair, no? But this is really work in progress from our end. Yes, nagsimula na po. So this is our way of ensuring that elective offerings are not only relevant, but also responsive to the actual demands of both local and global industries. In realigning our clusters, no, we have considered 3 important factors. No? Nasa screen po yan. No? The first one is that it should be industry-driven. No? Tech Pro electives are now grouped into specialized clusters, as seen on the screen later on. No? And each are named and designed to reflect core competencies in high-demand sectors such as creative arts and design, technologies, agri-fishery business, etc. No? The second one is regional mapping. We have considered that. No? Each cluster is mapped to regions where specific skills are most needed, and this will allow schools to tailor offerings to local industry needs and employment opportunities. But let me say that this is not limiting. No? Whatever emerging industry comes up in the region, we should be able to respond to that right away. Hindi po pwedeng nakakahon lang lagi. Later on, you will see that the table and chart, no, makikita nyo sa region na to, walang automotive. It doesn't mean na hindi tayo magpapatakbo ng automotive parts doon. Pag kailangan, patatakbohin po natin yon, no, alongside our partners. And then the last one is cross-sector relevance. Clusters are now structured to maximize employability and future readiness with opportunities for learners to combine electives for multidisciplinary skills. What does this mean? We will widen career opportunities and effectively integrate and widen the knowledge of our students to be able to solve complex problems, no, through Tech Pro. Let me just say that, maybe next slide please. No? Dito po makikita na natin yung reclustered, remapped set of electives. And in consultation with TESDA and CHED, no, they have all vetted this and they agree that this is really already very, very helpful and important because this gives us the opportunity to upgrade, improve, and align our Tech Pro electives with the industry. And we are not setting aside inputs coming from industry. Kasama po sila dito sa ating mga efforts. No? And according to CHED, no, in our consultation meeting also yesterday, no, this clustering, no, will also enable us, no, to clearly lay down the path, no, to create clearer ladderized pathways, no, for college education. Kasi malinaw na eh kung anong industriya, marunong cluster yan, it will be easier for us to align. Although the mechanisms are not yet there, but we will work towards that, no, to make sure that these available pathways are given to our students. Next slide, please. Mr. Chair, let me just go back to the previous slide. No? The highlighted electives there represent those that are currently offered with NC3s already. No? And the one that is boxed, no? This was taken from the last meeting we had with EDCOM on the National Workforce Development Plans. No? They have identified these 4 courses for development, particularly for regions that are in need of those skills. So we are working closely with TESDA to be able to develop the curriculum, the training regulations for that, Mr. Chair. No? Yep.
Again, I go back to the question 2 Mondays ago. Kunyari itong barbering services, you will offer that in grades 11 and 12?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And the most is NC2?
Yes, Mr. Chair, right now. Opo.
TESDA, meron ba kayong course na ganito, independent sa isang school ninyo o community-based that also gives an NC2 for barbering services? How many years to get an NC2 in your subject, in your course? 3 months? Yun totoo.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
3
3 months, 6
So,
months.
Mark,
We have
babalik ako. Sa inyo, 2 years. Sa kanila, 3 to 6 months, they will be able to give that NC2. So is that fair to the student?
Mr. Chair, we really acknowledge that, no? Na may ganung ano na eh, by default framework in terms of indicative times of offering, no? So we wish to correct that, and we will correct that, Mr. Chair, no? Because
Yes.
one of the bigger goals talaga is that
Will means future after this meeting, di ba?
yes, after this meeting, Mr. Chair, no?
Question ko, is it a possibility to upgrade the NCs for courses like barbering services na again, ano kasi parang bakit hindi na lang sila mag-test da. 6 months to get the same NC2. Yun yung akin eh. O kaya ito na lang. Marami dito yung cookery. May cookery kayo, di ba? Yes, yung cookery na yan. Meron din kayo nun eh. Binibigay nga yun sa sa community eh. Tapos minsan may oven pa eh.
Yes.
May oven kayong binibigay to all your cookery graduates? Pareho rin.
Meron po.
Meron din. Ilang months yung sa inyo?
Yes, Mr.
NC2.
Yes, Mr. Chair. In the Tech Pro curriculum, minimum of 3 qualifications is given to grade 11 and 12 student or learner. So hindi po isang
Pero
qualification.
NC2 pa rin. And a
Yes.
PQF would say, an NC2 is still saying, hindi ka pa job ready because you still need guidance eh. Kayo rin naman ang gumawa ng
Yes.
PQF eh.
Yes, we agree, Mr. Chair. So TESDA and CHED are now working together to upgrade
Is it
the
possible for
curriculum.
these things na maging NC3? O baka naman hindi pala talaga pwede. Hanggang NC2 lang siya.
It is possible, Mr. Chair.
Is there any other jurisdiction na merong barbering services na umabot ng NC3?
Sa ngayon,
Sa another country?
we will check on that,
But
Mr.
should you
Chair.
have not done that? Di ba dapat chinek nyo na yun?
We are working on priorities, Mr. Chair. So we will check on that, but we have plans to
Bakery, meron kayong bakery sa schools ninyo, di ba? TESDA?
bread and pastry
How
product.
many years yon to get an NC2 sa inyo?
15 days lang.
15 days. Dito 2 years. Sir Mark,
No,
bakit ganon?
It's clustered with other qualifications po.
So ang gusto ninyo sa DepEd, maraming NC2. So jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, we'd like to correct that, Mr. Chair, no? Yung training is really based on hours po, no? Lumalabas lang na mahaba po dahil nga, for example, in grade 11, if one elective is taken, naka-spread out siya from first quarter to fourth quarter.
At the end of the day, you still require 320 to 640 hours. Sila 15 days tapos nila. I mean, that is what I don't get eh. Yun yung Ang wala akong sinasabi na alisin niyo. Ang sinasabi ko, can you not upgrade that to an NC3? Mag-introduce, kunyari lalo na sa baking. Wala bang, kasi maging entrepreneur sila. Wala bang pwedeng i-add doon na backroom operations like learning the finances para maging NC3 sila or something like that? Or
To answer, Chair, no? Yeah,
Yes.
it is possible, and we will do that, Mr. Chair. No? Kasi isa sa mga kinakabit namin diyang posibilidad and innovation, Mr. Chair, would be micro-credentialing eh. No?
Again, okay sa akin yung micro-credentials. Ginagawa na ng TESDA yan. They will start doing that. I think si Secretary Kiko Benitez is way ahead of all of us there. Malayo na sila dun eh.
Opo.
Ang point ko, TESDA yun.
Opo.
Pero sa inyo, na nire-require yung 2 years, hanggang NC2 lang rin makukuha niya, na napakarami, it still doesn't mean na expert na siya. It still doesn't mean na job ready siya. Kasi yung skills niya, according to PQF, kailangan pa rin bantayan. Yun yung hindi ko maintindihan bakit tayo nag-stop sa NC2.
Po. Mr. Chair, I have succeeding slides which might possibly answer that, no? But thank you. Those are well noted, Mr. Chair, no? And that is really part of our effort to upgrade our NCs in senior high school. So we just want to show you an overview of the regional mapping initiatives that we have done. This is just simply to put in perspective the Tech Pro elective clusters that we have done, the key regions that are in demand of those specializations in the top industry sectors matched with those key regions. No? Again, as I mentioned earlier, this should not be limiting, no? Meaning this is a working document, a live document, and in consultation with industry and our stakeholders, no, this will continue to be upgraded, no, alongside the introduction of higher qualifications, and job opportunities, Mr. Chair. So,
Naman eh.
Yeah.
Yung point lang na kung NC2 lang, 2 taon, parang we are shortchanging the learner in that sense. Kasi hindi talaga siya magiging job ready under your own PQF. Kasama rin kayo sa PQF eh.
Apo.
Di ba? Sa NC2, it's still may skills, but you cannot be, kailangan may guidance pa rin. So, like teaching somebody. So, hindi talaga magiging kaakit-akit sa isang industriya. So,
Apo.
hopefully,
Yes.
you get you move forward on this matter
Opo.
and try to find ways na maging NC3 man lang
Opo.
para hindi rin sayang yung oras nung learner.
Opo. Palalakasin po natin yon,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, no?
Oo, kasi maganda talaga ang skills eh. 'Di ba? Ang tech walk maganda talaga eh.
Opo.
Ang daming trabaho
Opo.
international dito eh. Pero kung NC2 wala rin eh. Wala rin eh. Oo.
Saka game changer po ang Tech Pro.
Yes.
Game changer siya, no?
Oo.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to skip this part
Yes.
na lang po and just update you with additional initiatives coming from the department, no? We are, next slide please. We are working very closely with BOI and of course our internal strands, no? To develop and further strengthen our industry mapping platform, no? We have already started with something and this is continuously being vetted so that at the end, no, ang end goal talaga is for our learners to be able to use it productively, wisely, so that they can be guided into where the jobs are in their particular localities and how to avail of those jobs later on, no? So in the coming weeks, hopefully, no, we should be able to roll this out to the public. And this is not only exclusive for our learners, no? This is also a platform that our industry partners can also use, no? So that they can further develop their opportunities for our learners.
Talaga oh, isipin mo yung barber hairdressing service and NC2.
Opo.
Sa kanila siguro kaya-kaya nila in 1, 2, 3 months yun eh.
Yeah.
Sa inyo 2 years. Sayang yung dinagdag na 2 taon. Yes, Honorable.
There's really no way to integrate a TESDA course on the second sem of grade 12. Absolutely, there's no way to do that.
Madam Chair, let me just ask to clarify, no? What do we mean by the test, the course in
Kasi-
grade 12? Yeah.
So, okay naman, di ba, nagdagdag tayo ng field work, field experience, etc., which is good. But for a grade 12 student to graduate with an NC3 diploma, right now, under the current setup, wala siyang choice but to take a TESDA course. Tama ba ako?
For some, yes. For some NCs that
Kasi right now, there's no DepEd school that can actually provide a TV, a Tech Pro a Tech Pro track that that gives you also an NC3, di ba?
yes.
Meron ba?
Meron tayong mga electives po na NC3 na kagad by default, Madam Chair.
meron?
Yes, opo, meron na po. Pero konting-konti lang po 'yun eh.
So, sobrang konti.
Yes.
The general is hanggang NC2 lang. So the way for you to be NC3 is if si TESDA ma-incorporate sa DepEd, di
Yes.
ba? Yun yung tanong ko. Hindi ba pwedeng magawa ng paraan na, but you'll have to do it kasi by area, which
Yes.
meron naman kayo offices di ba?
Opo.
So, I think it can be done. Like, okay, let me give you a concrete example. My recent project is the construction of a mechatronics lab at the Marikina Polytechnic College with the help of PISAC. Okay? So, recent lang yon. So, ang ganda ng lab and pagka-graduate nila doon, meron na silang trabaho. Okay? So, I invited the grade 12 students of the school beside it. And sabi ko, okay, is sign up. Kasi I have the TESDA scholarships available. So, pipirma na lang sila, right? But believe it or not, 6 lang ang nag-sign up. Okay? So, I think it needs to be better coordinated. Kasi pwede din naman yung kapitbahay namin, let's say Pasig or Quezon City, if they are interested, they can actually avail of that service, di ba? It's a shared facility naman talaga, di ba? Pamamarisan, di ba? So, I think that's what DepEd and TESDA, this time DepEd and TESDA naman have to sit down together so that maipakita kung ano yung mga TESDA facilities and other facilities in the area ang available para ma-integrate na kaagad ang mga katulad nito para maisama na siya kaagad sa grade 12. Kasi right now, under the current setup, kailangan muna nilang graduate ng grade 12, saka pa lang sila magte-test the course ng another 6 weeks yata para nila makuha yung NC3. And then may trabaho na sila. But nothing stops you just by mere coordination na ipasok na kaagad itong 6-week test the course doon sa grade 12. 6 weeks lang naman yun eh. Diba? Tapos may funding naman from TESDA. Available resources naman yon. No need to add budget, di ba po? So yun ang sa tingin kong, it's just a matter nga of better coordination between DepEd and TESDA, and you do it by area. Di ba po? I think kayang-kayang gawin yun eh.
Opo. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for that recommendation also. And we're considering that yung pwedeng mag-cross-enroll yung bata sa ibang school na may facilities na kailangan nila for that. It's like a JDV program, pero this one is not necessarily a private school. It could be a public school. We're considering that.
Again, babalik tayo. Okay yun, di ba? Pero why do we have courses nga na ganito? Aesthetic services, barbering services, hairdressing, wellness services, hilot. Hilot yun eh. Why do we have that? Na wala namang NC3.
The courses we are offering, Mr. Chair, are
Problema is TESDA. TESDA, ilan ba ang NC3 programs or courses ninyo?
We have a total of 102 NC3 programs.
102.
Mr. Chair.
Could you not choose from that 102? Eh dito ang onti lang eh. Did you provide DepEd a list of this 102?
Mr. Chair, we have a slide to present that, the numbers, no? You may want to see that, no?
Yes, but,
yes,
but
yes.
ito na yung ano nyo
Opo,
eh.
opo.
Ito na yung cluster eh.
Yes, yes.
So why is it not here?
Again, I think, Mr. Chair, the concern is, of course, coming from TESDA, no? The promulgated training regulations.
So TESDA does not want to pass that on to you? Is that what you're saying?
No, Mr. Chair.
Ng TESDA to this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 programs for NC3. Sabi niya 100 plus. But you only have 6 in your
Yes.
K-12.
Yes.
So, kahit man lang, ang konti naman ng 6 to 100 plus. Bakit?
Yeah.
Saan yung clog? Why can't you implement more than
Yeah.
the 6? Saan ang problema? TESDA ba does not want to share things with you? Or ayaw ninyo yung program nila? Saan yung problema?
Yeah, first of all, Mr. Chair, we want TESDA to provide us guidance,
Okay.
no, in providing higher certification qualifications for our students, no. But by default right now, no, there are certifications that would really require the learners to pass on and complete NC1s and 2s, no. Yes.
Kadang NC1 and 2, 15 days tapos na nga yung
Yes.
isa eh.
Yes.
But
Yes.
you're requiring 2 years.
Yes.
So why not 15 days lang nga yung inyo? Bakit
Apo.
inyo i-add yung iba para maging NC3 na?
Apo, yun po yung gagawin namin, Mr. Chair, no.
So ibig
Apo.
sabihin mawawala na itong aesthetic barbering unless may NC3. May NC3 ba to? Any of this aesthetic wellness and human care, does this have any NC3? Oo, meron bang NC3 yan? Oo, kasi kawawa yung bata eh. Oo. Pero baka meron pala eh. Mukhang meron eh. Oh. Under the general aesthetic wellness and human care, hindi ako maniwala, creative arts and design technology, isa lang yung may NC3, yung iba puro NC2 lang.
It's a matter of developing, di ba?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of developing
So, wala.
courses.
That is a question. Huwag ka muna answer the question first. Wala. Meron na wala.
Sa ngayon po, wala po, but we have plans of
Yes,
increasing
but
the
meron
number.
kayo 102.
Two, yes.
Why did you not share the 102 programs?
We have shared all TRs with them po. Pero
Ayaw tanggapin ng
they
DepEd.
So
DepEd shows yung 15 days, 3 months, or 6 months na extend nila to 2 years. Apparently,
they have
ganun.
clustered po NC2 qualifications and then added
Yes, gusto nila jack of all trades
Horizontal.
effectively. Oo. Kaysa maging master of, 'di ba? 'Yun lang gusto nila, lahat na lang alam pero hindi talaga expert sa isa. Bakit natin gusto yun?
So share, I think, well, if of course there may be that impression, no, that
Yeah.
we are forming jack of all trades students, no. There is value to equipping our students with cut across skills, no. But if not done right, medyo ano yun damaging sa bata yun and sa industriya, no. So we will consider, of course, yung ano po ninyo recommendation to really strengthen the specialization component, no. In fact, Mr. Chair, just to answer, no, one of the moves that we will make with TESDA is to explore moving down select NCs 1 and 2 to junior high school so that we can free up senior high school and offer more NC2s and NC3s at least after grade 12 or before they graduate from grade
But you
12.
already have that. You already have that. Huwag nyo kami lokohin. Meron na kayo niyan. Sa junior high school, meron na kayong ganun. ASEC Janier, meron ba o wala?
Meron po, but not for all pa, Mr. Chair.
It's not something new.
Opo, yeah.
You have that. So why are you telling us something that you already have?
I think, Chair, what they need to do is to make standard the adding of NC3 into grade 12.
Yes.
I think yun ang target.
Yes, yes.
Para pag-graduate ng bata sa grade 12, NC3 ready na po sila.
Opo, opo.
May hawak sila NC3. Yun ang job ready. Yun ang definition ng job ready.
Opo.
It's very clear.
Yes.
Di ba
yes.
po?
Opo.
Kasi po, wag tayong maligaw.
Opo. Tama po 'yun, Madam Chair, no? Yun po yung isa sa aming ongoing work with TESDA, no? That is precisely to explore the expansion of NC3 offerings in partnership with TESDA to ensure that these pathways are developmentally appropriate and align with both institutions and educational standards. So we will create that.
Yeah, so I think the long term, Mr. Chair, is to have test the facilities that are for senior high school students. I don't know kung owned ba yan by DepEd or TESDA, but yan ang nakikita ko, may TESDA facility ka, but it's really for senior high. Hindi ko alam kung yan ay nasa DepEd ba, na nandun ba yun sa mismong public school na may TESDA classrooms ka, or separate, or pwede rin naman na nasa TESDA building ka, pero meron kang, or it can be both, right?
Yeah.
Nothing stops you from having both kinds.
Opo.
Yun ang medium to longer term.
Yes.
For now, dapat kung sino yung existing na TESDA providers ay i-allow na doon kayo magte-take ng senior high school subjects nyo in the following TESDA accredited providers. Na kapag kinuha nyo na yan, NC3 na kayo, pagka pumasa na kayo. I think ganun yung dapat. And
Yes.
must.
Yes.
Hindi yung explore. Kailangan. Kasi yun nga yung ginagawa natin. Kasi kung hindi natin gagawin po yan, wag na po tayo mag-revise. Yun ang purpose. Alam niyo po ha, pinagbibigyan ko lang po kayo. Nagre-revise tayo ng K-12 na wala tayong evidence. Hindi tayo nag-pilot. Paulit-ulit kami po naghihiring dito. Nag-evaluate po ba tayo ng K-12? Lagi niyo kaming sinasagot na ongoing pa po ang evaluation. Hindi na nga namin kayo kinulit ngayon, 'di ba? Na bakit tayo nagre-revise na hindi pa natin nakikita ang results ng evaluation study ninyo. Kasi alam naman natin na may problema talaga even without looking at the data. Alam talaga natin na ang batang mag-graduate ng grade 12 ay hindi talaga job ready. So sige, mag-revise na tayo. Okay. Pero kung magre-revise tayo tapos hindi naman pala sila may NC3, wag na lang po. Di ba po? Sana po, yun ha?
Opo. Opo.
Yun ang non-negotiable for me.
Opo.
Sana po, Chair, agree kayo.
Ilang beses na yun ang sinasabi na
Opo.
that is exactly why we passed the Education Pathways Bill.
Opo. Opo.
Kailangan minimum of, ang akin nga NC4. Because with NC4, you get a diploma, pwede ka na dumiretso ng kolehiyo under the Ladderized Education Law. Pero tatanungin ko nga pala, baka makalusot ang TESDA. Ilan ang may industry boards na? How many kasi key yan eh. Key yung industry boards to develop this NC34. So, ilang programs na ang may industry board?
We have around 85 at the moment, Mr.
85.
Yes.
And
Mr.
those
Chair.
85 industry boards cover how many programs? Tig-isa lang ba
Ay,
sila?
No, Mr. Chair. Opo. Meron pong mga industry boards na nagsasabi or gumagawa ng mga programa na
Ilan na
develop.
industry boards ang may programs na hanggang NC3, NC4?
I don't have my
Offhand.
statistics. Approximately, Mr. Chair, na NC3, mga 9 industry boards po, especially on the,
9 lang ang industry boards na may programs na may NC3.
yes, Mr. Chair. Approximately po.
So,
I
saan
don't
natin
have,
nakuha yung NC3 for the 100 plus? Hindi ba talagang ano yun, industry driven ang ano natin?
yes,
Ang
Mr.
skilled
Chair.
work. So it would depend on their industry board. If our industry boards only have 9 programs with NC3, paano na-develop ang
Kaka-establish
100
pa lang
plus?
po ng ating mga industry boards.
Correct. So yung iba
Something-
established ng TESDA.
Oo po. Yung
O-
iba po, they come to us by virtue of a law or by virtue
But
of their
wouldn't it be
needs.
better na industry board driven yung inyong mga NC simply because yun assured na may trabaho?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that is
Yes.
precisely the point why
So
we
sa
established
9
the industry
programs
boards.
ng industry boards na may NC, at least NC3,
Yeah.
ilan yung na-recommend ninyo na that are being used now in grades 11 and 12? Yes. So
I'll have the technical person for that matter, Mr.
Yes.
Chair.
kasi yun, that will equate to jobs after eh. Kasi doon na magtatrabaho, doon na magta-training eh.
Based on the list of the electives of the Tech Pro, Mr. Chair, parang 3 clusters lang yung merong
Ano?
NC3.
Specifically, ano yung tatlo dito?
ICT, we
ICT,
have tourism, which is events management, and
so computer programming lahat?
programming po yung marami, Mr. Chair.
Yan yung may industry board. What about yung sa heavy equipment, construction? May industry board
PCA,
yun ah.
meron na po ngayong active na PCA. So,
Bakit dito sa atin, ano lang, hanggang NC2 lang? Does anyone know kung may industry board yung construction na more than NC2 na?
meron po silang NC3 na ginawa sa TESDA, Mr. Chair, pero hindi po nasali sa listahan ng
How many, gano'ng katagal yung test na program ninyo for that?
Meron for
2
over a
years?
week, diba?
Di sana para sa kanila kung 2 years. At least NC3 o less pa. O di pwede may NC3, may NC2 pa na iba. So, sayang eh.
That is possible po. We can
Yes,
have a
yes.
vertical progression from NC1 to 3
Yes.
na vertical progression. Yung isa pong model kasi nila is horizontal.
Na NC3 ka agad.
May NC3 and then dinagdagan nila ng NC2 sa iba-ibang.
Anong gusto natin NC3, di ba?
Okay po.
Bakit hindi natin tulungan ng DepEd para makuha na nila through kung may industry board, mas maganda pa.
Yun po ang moving forward, yun po
Moving
yung
forward.
ano po.
In the past, hindi nangyari kasi yung coordination na maganda.
Yes. Yes po, yun pong pamimili nung Tech Pro is with DepEd and TESDA din naman po. But these are the courses or qualifications
So you will
na
help,
initially.
you will recommend now to DepEd para lang at least yung
Yes, Your Honor.
NC3, NC4 na tayo, yun yung aim.
That
Yun
is
lang.
that agreement po with
Yes, when was this agreement? Recently lang because of all these
Yes.
hearings. Yes, KM?
Mr. Chair, just to provide further context, we did a study po kasi based on data submissions from TESDA and we counted ilan ba yung offerers ng NC3 and NC4 in the country. Correct us if we're wrong, but the data shows us that for NC3, we have 1,002 providers of NC3 courses all over the country. Yung NC4, 26 providers.
Pero at least NC3,
And so,
1,000 na.
so yung call natin, sir, na kailangan mag-expand talaga yung TESDA ng NC3, NC4, dapat pag-usapan at mag-converge yung mga plano para may ladders up yung mga nag-NCs from DepEd.
May length of time to get the NC3 based on the study?
Iba-iba, sir, per training regulation.
Based on ano yung average training na TRs yan?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Yung NC3 po natin is from 112 hours, yun po yung pinakamababa, up to 1,600 hours
Oh,
po.
pero yung 112 to ano would fit in perfectly to the 640 na willing na nga sila ibigay. Ang daming mapapasok pala doon with NC3.
Yun
But
po.
ano ba yung reason ba't ayaw natin?
Ah,
Alam namin, baka hindi namin naintindihan eh. No reason or what is the reason?
Sa prioritization kasi po noong una, if you look at the industry, they would prefer NC2
Oh
kasi
my
yun
God,
yung
that's not
NC2.
true.
Yun pong experts namin, yung development po ha, yung development of courses kasi sa development ng course po kami. They would prefer to make the NC2 first, pero they also develop the NC3. With the descriptor kasi nung PQF, sir, yung NC3 level has already supervisory functions.
Hindi. Ang NC2, it simply says, may skill ka, pero kailangan pang may nagbabantay sa'yo. So how can you ever say that's job ready? NC2 yun, di ba? Yun yung PQF nyo. Kayo nagsulat nun, hindi kami. You, NEDA, DepEd, I think kayong members ng PQF, di ba? We asked that 2 Mondays ago. That was, di ba, hindi ba yun ang definition ng level 2 NC2 ninyo? You have skills, pero kailangan pa rin ng guidance. You cannot be left alone.
Of the supervisor pa.
Correct. Eh di pa paano naging job ready? Tuturuan pa rin pala. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Opo, when the industry comes to TESDA, sinasabi po nila na ito ang kailangan namin. Now, uupuan po namin yan. Tatanungin namin po sila para yung leveling po.
Sige.
Okay.
Now,
Pag
I get
nag-level-
what you mean.
Yes.
So
Pag nag-level,
sabi ninyo, wala namang jobs available for an NC3 or an NC4.
no, sir. What I'm saying is about the leveling po. It's not ang industry po ang nagsasabi na pag kinamada namin ang kurso, na level 2 po ito, yan po ang kailangan namin. Na level 3 po ito, yan po ang kailangan namin. So, ganun, opo.
What are you explaining?
What I'm trying to say, sir, is that pag sinabi nating NC2, job ready po sila for that level. Pag sinabi po nating NC3, job
Kasi
ready.
yun ang sinabi ng industriya.
Yes, at
So ang
yun po ang
sinasabi mo
kailangan
namin,
nila.
yun lang ang available job sa
No,
Pilipinas.
sir. Hindi po. Yun po yung kailangan nila at the moment.
Ay,
Opo.
Because that is what is available. That is what industry told you. Ang kailangan lang namin hanggang dito.
Yes, sir. But yun nga po yung as a matter
So
of...
ang sinasabi mo, it's really our industry. Problema, kulang ng industriya sa Pilipinas.
no, sir. Yung pangangailangan po ng industriya, specific po pag sinabi namin sa amin.
So, kunyari barbering.
Mhm.
Lahat ng industriya, lumapis nyo, kailangan namin ng barbero. Kaya nyo rin-recommend barbering services.
Hindi po kami ang nag-recommend, sir. Kami lang po yung nag-translate into standards kung ano po yung kailangan ng
Okay.
industriya.
Hindi pala na-recommend yun. So, bakit nyo kinuha yun kung dapat job ready? Dapat based
Yun
on
po
what
yung
you have?
sorry, Mr. Chair. Yun po yung sinabi sa amin ng
Sir Mark.
industriya na magkaroon po kami ng NC for that.
At the end of the day, ang sinasabi lang niya, yan yung kailangan, yan yung job available. That's as simple. Although, hindi ko lang pwedeng banggitin dito, but soon enough, papaalam lang ako sa mga industriya, they are actually saying that ang problema is TESDA because may set standards kayo na ayaw nyo makinig sa industriya kung anong kailangan nila in terms of training. Exactly, dami na lumapit
Yes.
sa amin eh.
So, Chair, just to follow up on that. So, halimbawa, NC2, kasi my thinking kasi is kailangan mo ng NC3 to be job ready. But looking at this slide, nakasulat dito, NC2 for mechatronics, parang mukhang job ready na. Tama ba?
Yes, tama yun, Madam Chair, no? Kasi
For
it-
mechatronics.
yes, which means that the gap between NC2 and 3 should not be that wide for someone to jump into NC3.
So, kaya lang kasi, di ba, Chair, parang lagi natin naririnig na yung NC2 is kulang.
That is what the PQF says.
Yun ang sinasabi, right? Pero here, kaya ko na kasi nga, I just had this project out in mechatronics. So ngayon, parang it's confusing. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng job ready? So it depends on the industry, ganon? So ibig sabihin for mechatronics, sapat na ang NC2.
as defined sa PQF is you have skills but you need guidance. Hindi ka pa
Supervision.
pwede
Opo.
you cannot do the work by yourself. So but your definition here,
But here, kasi you can
Hindi.
do the work by yourself.
ang ginawa
clearly.
nila kasi linimit nila to yung pinaka-routine, yung hindi ka na mag-iisip effectively.
Yeah, pero
Kaya nila nilagay yung,
mali yung, kasi,
mali yung description nila.
yes, kasi kung following the definition na binanggit ni Chair,
Yeah.
yung NC2 na description dito is dapat NC3. Kasi kaya mo na on your own. Hindi mo na kailangan ng supervision, di ba? Kasi
Hindi, ito kasi
technician ka na, junior servicer.
yes, but you have to understand yung NC2 kunyari yung basic work na talagang kunyari magmamartilyo ka. Yun pwedeng NC2 yun, wala namang supervision kailangan doon. So doon nila ang ginawa nila dito, define nila yung independent conditions routine servicing. Yung mga very simple na gagawin. Kaya nila masasabi na independent siya. But if you look at the PQF, hindi hindi yan para sa job ready na pwede ka na mag-isa.
Pero at the end of the day, Chair, ang magsasabi na job ready, ang NC2 na to is industry, di ba?
We agree, Madam Chair, yes.
So ito, dumaan na sa industriya?
Yes, this is actually information coming from industry po eh.
Okay, so na as far as we are concerned tayo, kasi like syempre, nandito tayo sa punto na nagsaset tayo ng standards, di ba po, for grade 12. So ano magiging standard natin? Pag sinabi natin na basta ang gusto natin, ang Tech Pro students natin, pagkatapos ng grade 12, job ready. So ang sasabihin natin, or NC3, depending on the industry. Basta, isusure natin na lahat ng NC2 at NC3 natin, ang nagsa-sign off niyan lahat is industry.
Yes.
Again,
Madam
mali
Chair,
yan.
yeah. That's one.
That's not what PQF, the standard ng ano. Hindi yan. Ang ginagawa nila dito, effectively, ito yung pag kunyari, kailangan mo sa korporasyon, kailangan mo driver. Ayun sabihin nila, kailangan ko ng driver na independent, marunong. Pero yung trabaho niya, pwedeng hindi quality work yan. Dinagdagan mo ng 2 taon, tapos ang bibigay mo trabaho, pwede naman palang hindi na dumaan sa 2 years na yon. Hindi quality work ang mabibigay. Yung salary niya will always be at the minimum. Yan yung, pero they play around with the words and play around with the fact na yun yung sinasabit under the PQF, maliwanag pa rin yan. For you to have a quality job, independent, you're the one who determines, it has to be NC3. So ito, panlilin lang na naman yan. Ang mangyayari dyan kasi, tatanggapin natin, NC2, pero anong trabaho mapapasok? O anong trabaho makukuha nung graduate ng grade 12? Nagdagdag ka ng 2 taon, pero ito lang. Ginawa mong trabahador lang siya talaga, which is very unfair. Di yun ang point eh.
Yeah. So, Chair, can we respond to that? No? In principle, this is what should really be happening, with industry and our senior high school learners coming into the industry. But of course, the sad reality is that is not the case. Kaya hindi po talaga kailangang hindi mawala ang industriya sa pag-uusap.
Huwag mo balik na rin. Hindi yan. Don't blame it on the industry. Blame it on the system, the K-12 system. Kasi pinipilit ninyo na magkaroon ng TechVo kahit hindi quality jobs ang makukuha nila. The point is, it is within your hands to ensure that if you will introduce any TechVo course, yung TechVo course na yan, dapat quality. Kasi kung hindi, kung ilulusot niyo lang ulit na, sabi kasi sa akin nung industriya, kailangan namin ng mga 10 driver. So, ito yung pero yun. Did you improve the life? Di sana hindi natin dinagdagan ng 2 taon. It is incumbent upon you as the Department of Education to fight for the ordinary Filipino na dapat quality job. So don't tell us na yan lang. Kaya NC2 yan because under PQF, yan pa rin ang definition.
Yeah. Opo.
Hindi siya, yan ang available jobs, but hindi siya quality jobs na talagang aangat talaga ng gusto yung buhay niya.
Opo. We recognize that, Mr. Chair, and that's the reason why we are really, really working together with TESDA to
So the point is this,
develop this.
do you have to have all these tech voc courses in your grades 11 and 12 if it will not lead to quality jobs? I think that is one question that you should ask yourselves.
Yes. In principle, we should be very selective, no, with the course offerings that we will offer and decide to offer because it should really match what is needed in the industry. Yes.
Magtanong kayo sa graduates natin ng grade 12 na nag-NC2. I'm almost sure, naka-attend na ako ng graduation na 100% sinabi nila magka-college pa rin sila. Kahit nag-tech voc. Kasi nga wala naman trabaho eh. So in that sense, you did not ano.
Happens, Mr. Chair, is that they only do 2 years of college because ang eligibility requirements for any job is at least 2 years of college. So nangyayari dyan po is nasasayang po yung pondong nilalagay po ng Kongreso sa UACTE. Kasi even if yung mga bata, tingnan po ninyo, pinakamataas po ang dropout rate sa 3rd year college. Chad, tignan po ninyo ang datos ninyo. Nag-reflect na ba po kayo kung bakit napakataas po ng dropout rate ng juniors? Yun ang aking pagtingin. Because in the first place, marami sa kanila TVL grads ng grade 12. Wala naman talaga silang, gusto talaga sana nilang magtrabaho after grade 12. Kaya lang, hindi sila job ready. So, dahil libre naman din ang college, nag-take advantage ng libreng tuition, first 2 years of college lang para lang makakuha ng trabaho. So yun ang I think ang nangyayari. So ang dami pong nasasayang na time again on the part of the student, dagdag expenses on the part of the family, dagdag expenses din on the part of government, hindi ba po? So
Stella, just to add, hindi ko alam kung release na yung study, but there was also a study that came out na ang dapat nga tinutulungan natin sa free college ay yung pinakamahihirap. Lumalabas sa study, nakaramihan nandun sa 4-piece program, umaabot lang ng 2nd year college. So ang nagbe-benefit talaga dyan ay hindi yung talagang dapat mag-benefit. And there was, I don't know if that study was authorized to be released, but I saw that study. And karamihan ng 4-piece, in fact, hanggang 2nd year lang.
But maybe, Chair, it's also because when
Nakakabit-
ng 2nd year
Yes.
college, nakakakuha na sila ng trabaho. Maybe to begin with, siguro ang gusto talaga nila is by grade 12 ay makapagtrabaho
Trabaho
na
na
agad.
naman, quality job sana.
Quality job sana ang nakuha nila doon sa TVL track.
So we all get the point?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we take note of the recommendations po and we'll study and recalibrate our
So,
tech
Chair,
pro offerings.
naka-pilot pa lang naman ito. Tama po? So, pilot in how many schools?
For now, we have more than 800 schools po. for
800
now.
schools.
Yes po.
So, so pati sa Tech Pro track na map out nyo na po yung... So these are, itong 800 schools na to all over the country, tama po?
Yes,
Ilan
Mr.
po sa
Chair.
NCR?
I don't have the data with me, ma'am. But Mr. Chair, we can provide that data po.
Yeah, kasi I'd like to know kung meron pa sa mga districts namin, di ba?
Meron po lahat ng districts, Mr. Chair. We have representatives, all SDOs in NCR and the other
Yun,
provinces.
kasi, so if it's, yun ang problema kasi, if it's everywhere. Kasi nga, as I said, itong Tech Pro, for it to be successful, dapat ninyo na pag-aralan ang lahat ng opportunities within a geographic area, di ba po? So, kung ako kasi magpapatakbo ng pilot, pipili talaga ako ng area na pag-aralan ko na mabuti, ano yung mga Tech Pro opportunities para mailalagay ko yung mga bata sa mga test providers na pwede para makakuha talaga sila ng NC3 courses para by the time they graduate, ready na talaga sila. Pero right now, kasi it's spread throughout the country, so kailangan mong mahanapan ng paraan sa buong bansa na sila po ay makakuha talaga ng test the courses. So meaning, magiging spread out talaga yung inyong pilot effort. Naka-pilot pa lang kayo, pero naka-spread out ang inyong attention. I mean, you see my point?
Madam Chair, if I may respond to that, no, one of the strategic directions we're working on, no, would be to really identify senior high schools, no, which can serve potential feeders to industry, no. When I say feeders, these schools should have the high capacity to deliver learners, graduates towards or to industries that have that are in need, no? Yeah.
That to happen, sir, kasi you also need to have itong TESDA
Yes, TVIs included.
in the catchment
Yes.
area of
Yes.
those schools, right?
Opo. Kasama po sila doon. Opo.
So sana kasama yon doon sa
Opo.
planning for these
Opo.
800 or so pilot schools. Kasi otherwise, ganun din, di
Opo.
ba? They will still graduate without the required NCEs for to be job ready. Bale, wala lang dito.
Opo. We recognize that po, Madam Chair, no? And that's part of the one of the pillars which is capacity building to be
And
complementary with
Sa
testing.
800 schools, ilang estudyante ang involved? And na-forecast niyo na ba kung magkano ang requirements in case all of those that will do Tech Pro will have to enroll in a TESDA course for an NC3. Dapat na-forecast niyo na para sa pagdating ng budget hearing, for sure magkukulang ang kailanganin niyo na TESDA funds for the scholarship programs. Tama ba ako? Yun yung sinasabi ko, di ba? So, sa pag-iisip nitong pilot, dapat na-estimate nyo na rin po kung ano yung kakailanganin ninyo na pondo para sa TESDA.
29% of your students are in tech walk track. No?
And ilan ang sakop
So, ilan
itong
yun?
800 schools? Ilan na bata yan? So, take 29% of that. I mean, back of the envelope, 800 schools.
All
Ilan-
800
ilan-
schools ba? Sigurado may tech walk? Wala ah. Hindi, not necessarily.
Yeah,
Baka
so-
academic lang yun.
So, ilan yan? Ilan
Yeah.
bata ang sakop ng 800
Yeah.
schools? I'm sure you have the number.
I don't have it with me,
You
Madam
do.
Chair. I'll check po.
Then you just multiply it by you would know.
Hindi nila alam yung 800 kung ilan doon sa 800 ang may tech walk eh.
No, but more or less, you know that X% of those students typically take TVL kasi we know it from
29.
Marikina. Or 29%. Just take 29% of that. That's your forecast for how many scholarships you would need para ma-sure natin na merong at least NC3 ang lahat ng bata na yan, di ba? Kasi that's the only way. Di ba? Para ma-sure natin. Tama?
Tama po, Madam Chair.
Lang hindi ninyo alam. Ano tayo?
Kasi wala naman much difference eh, yung pinilot niyo, yung 800 na yan. Pareho rin yan, hanggang NC2 rin naman eh. NC2 rin naman yung current, NC2 yung papilot niyo, so not much of a difference. Diba? So you would really have to adjust moving forward. And pag-aralan niyo na. Wala naman difference. Ano lang, in-name lang yung pilot niyo eh. Pero NC2 rin.
Opo, opo.
And same courses rin. Oh, yung barbering, oh, 'di ba? Same courses rin naman, 'di ba? Nothing has changed.
Mr. Chair, ang siguro commitment po namin kung ano po yung magagawa namin kaagad ng paraan na may elevate kaagad sa NC3 to mga existing courses we will do for the pilot and more so for the succeeding years of implementation.
Yes.
Because it can be done.
And when you submit that to us, take into account na rin yung skills ng teacher. Kasi baka yung next excuse niya sa amin is that walang skill yung teacher na magturo ng NC3, di ba? So just give us
Mr. Chair, just to echo those sentiments, kasi I guess as a policy directive or maybe a policy conversation that needs to happen is, will DepEd try to build capacity for all of these NCs? Because in terms of procuring and building the equipment and getting the equipment for it, building the facilities, training the teachers, hindi po talaga, parang sustainably po, kasi sa TechVoc, magastos talaga kasi ang daming capital outlay requirements and the needs of industry continuously evolves. I think the conversations today highlight that dapat pag nag-expand si TESDA, mag-usap talaga sila ng malinaw ng DepEd kung anong mga programa at kung saan para po yung investments ng TESDA aligned din sa kailangan ng DepEd.
That is
po.
correct. The only problem is, again, baka alam ng human resources, ilan yung teachers niyo sa DepEd na specifically for TechVoc lang? Can they be shifted to the academic track or hindi na?
Di ba, Chair, sa ngayon, all of the students kasi by their training are all academic, di ba? Kasi pag nagle-let sila, di ba, either math, science, Filipino, etc.
Hindi, pero baka nag-hire sila eh. I mean, let's ask them now, nandiyan si ano eh.
Pero halimbawa, like for baking, tinatanong lang naman sa kanila, sino ba marunong mag-bake dito?
Oh, is that the case?
Ganun sa amin.
Para maliwanag kami, kasi baka mami, yung next issue sa amin is that mawawala ng trabaho yung mga those na nasa TechVoc. Yun ang sunod na nasa mind na ni Sir Peter Mark na sasabihin sa next hearing eh. That is why let's cut that argument na and let's make sure ilan ba ang talagang teachers natin sa TechVoc currently? Yung sinabi ni Honorable Stella, teachers ba sila academic na in-upskill nyo lang para mag-TechVoc? Para alam natin kung meron bang mawawala ng trabaho or wala. To put it to rest na, di ba? Mr. Bermudez?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on our initial teacher inventory of those schools na magpapilot
Wag na pilot. You have an existing one. 29% of your students go to the TechVoc track. 29%.
As of now, Mr. Chair, wala po kami noon. Ang meron kami nito is yung teacher inventory natin for those na magpapilot, in which we have identified yung mga specializations ng ating mga teacher.
Yeah, ang question nga, pero you have to find out sa current nyo, hindi
Yes,
lang
sir.
dyan.
That is
Pero yung
correct.
sa papilot ninyo, ilan dyan ang TechVoc na nag-let passer ba lahat yan? Or hindi?
Yes po, sir. They are all let
Saan
passer.
problema?
Oh, kasi all of them
Yeah.
are required
Yeah.
let passers. Tama ba
Yes.
ako? At pag teacher ka, kailangan let passer ka. So necessarily, academic talaga ang track mo. Kaya lang, nabigyan ka ng assignment na TVL. Tama ba ako? Kasi lahat sila 100% let passer di ba?
Ang iba sa kanila, Mr. Chair, ay specialists. But before they can be hired sa DepEd, they have to take the licensure exam just so they can teach in the basic education. Kasi
For you to take the licensure exam, you're required to take an education course. in
Yes,
tertiary.
the
Yes, so that's my
certification course.
point. Ibig sabihin, kunwari, magtuturo ako ng welding, hindi ako pwedeng welder na hindi ako education in an HEI, di ba po? Yun ang ibig sabihin noon.
Yes po, yes.
Yes, so
Yeah.
yun ang tanong namin.
That's the point.
So talagang lahat po ay nag-BA in education sa isang HEI.
Ang iba po may specialist na sila nag-take ng diploma or certificate course to get that
The
18 units na requirement to take the licensure exam.
So 18 units in education ang
Yes.
requirement. But
Pedagogy.
so in addition to college, any college course, plus 18 units in
Yes.
pedagogy.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
Pero
lahat
wala
nung
nga yung talagang pure na let's say welder. Walang ganon.
Eventually, they have to take the
Yun na
test
nga.
po.
Exactly.
Yes. Pang question ko nga, Sir Bermudez, para clear tayo sa more than 45,000 ninyong teachers that are in TechVoc, meron ba doon na mawawala ng trabaho, madi-displace? Kung mawala ang TechVoc sa DepEd, meron bang madi-displace?
Definitely, sir, hindi po sila madi-displace. But
Hindi.
of course, magkakaroon sila ng underload, but they can also take subjects dun sa junior high school.
What
They
is
can
the
be
effect
given.
of an underload? Mababawasan pa
bawas
sila ng
sweldo.
sweldo?
Hindi po, sir. Meaning
Hindi
to say, the number of hours na load nila should be a maximum of 6 hours in a day. So there can be possibility na mga 5 hours lang or 4 hours, but this can be, they can be assigned to take other subjects sa junior high school po.
So walang madi-displace kahit isang teacher na nasa TechVoc track. Walang
That's our hope, sir. And definitely we are seeing, nakikita namin, hindi talaga madi-displace.
Hindi
sir.
talaga.
Opo, sir.
Kasi by definition, let passers.
Yes po,
is-
sir.
Yes.
Yes po.
Display.
Pero
Yes.
magandang may categorical statement dito ang DepEd na walang madi-displace.
Clear yun
Clear yun. Kahit ma-underload sila, hindi ibig babawasan sila ng sweldo. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am J-Lo, is that correct?
Mr. Chair, yes po. Definitely, hindi po sila mababawasan ng sweldo.
Hindi.
They can
okay?
be reassigned or given subjects. Hindi po, not necessarily. Unang-una, di ba, mayroon po tayong kakulangan sa mga teachers. So siguro, ang kailangan lang po natin ay ang tawag dito, upskilling na lang. Kasi yung mismatch po nung kanilang major lang naman talaga ang problema natin.
Mhm.
So, yun na lang po.
Upskilling lang para
Upskilling na lang.
sa academic track sila pwede
Academic, pero meron din po kasing TVL from grades 4 pa lang up to grade 10. Meron din po.
Exactly po eh. Pero yun nga yung sinasabi sa
Mm.
teacher, gagawin ninyo, but you've been doing that eh. Meron na yan, dati pa talaga eh. So meron naman talaga yan. Meron talaga yan. Eh, kaya nagulat ako bakit biglang yun yung sinabi. So again, walang madi-displays. Zero madi-displays. So, yes, ayan na. TDC. Sir Benjo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, at masaya kaming marinig na walang madi-displace na teachers, no, kahit doon sa TechBook. Gusto lang namin iklaro ano po, no, sapagkat pag-uusapan din natin yung assignment eh. Pag-usapan po natin yung working hours, no. Lalo na ngayon magbubukas yung klase kasi may statement si Director Bermudez, no, na parang ang pagkakakuha ko ay maximum yung 6 hours, no. Wala pong tinatakdang maximum, no, yung may maximum po, no, na tinatakda yung batas pero walang minimum, no. So hindi po kami convinced, no, na underload kapag ka less than 5 hours o 6 hours, opo, kasi walang minimum.
Nagamit loosely now.
Medyo nag-iingat po kasi kami doon dahil there is a policy, no, in 2024 po, no, yung DepEd Order number 5. Sa kasalukuyan hindi pa rin po siya maayos, no, at delikado po yan dahil baka tambakan naman ng teaching load, no, yung mga teachers para ma-justify po, no, under that specific provision.
Benjo, klaro sa atin, walang madi-displace.
Yes sir, and we're happy to.
And walang mababawasan ng sweldo kahit na mabawasan yung teaching load nila.
Yes sir, wala pong batas na pwede
Yes.
sabi na mababawasan po yun.
Wala. Yun ang maliwanag sa atin.
Yes, and we thank DepEd for that po, no, for ensuring
Clarifying that.
So in short, happy po kayo, sir, na kapag ang TESDA magkaroon ng role dito sa Tech Pro track,
Pardon, ma'am.
pag magkaroon ng role ang TESDA sa pagtuturo dito sa Tech Pro track, okay po yun sa inyo?
Yeah, actually, no, doon po sa pinasa po ninyo, no, yung education pathways. Parang clear na yan doon eh, no. Mukhang baka nga somewhat, no, ay mag-calibrate po, no, yung supposedly yung DepEd at yung TESDA, no, tungkol po diyan kasi baka nga mayroong duplication na, no, dito po sa ating mga ginagawa, no. At matagal na rin naman po yan, ano, ma'am, na Mr. Chair, na may mga ganun na pong criticisms dito sa implementation, ano, especially ng TVL track ng ating Department of Education. Thank you po.
So for now, mukhang okay naman tayo. I think everyone has his or her assignment. We have to thank Chairman Fermin. You will help out Chairman Fermin. You will help out, ensure na seamless na yung ano natin doon para wala nating issue sa TESDA. Please share at quality jobs. Because may linabas rin na survey dati na umaangat talaga yung trabaho. Ito, in fairness, meron silang survey government na mas marami na raw na hire na grade 12 graduates. Ang tanong doon, anong klaseng trabaho ang nakukuha? Kasi kung hindi rin naman quality jobs, useless rin yung dagdag na 2 taon. Eh yun yung tinatry nila lusot dito kanina na pwede na yun dahil yun ang kailangan ng industriya. Pero kung hindi yun that's not fair to the student or the learner. Hindi talaga fair.
Sister, if I may just add, no, we take cognizance of what you said earlier, no. It's not really entirely the industry's fault, no. We have to really produce proof of concept, no, that our graduates from senior high school are really, really work ready, and we work very hard towards that, no. Yeah.
With that, if there's any comment? Chairman Fermin, wag ka umalis muna.
Sa Chad, sana po we require our SUCs and LUCs to regularly conduct surveys among their graduates on their employability.
Tracer? Iba pa? Iba yun, yeah.
Yes, kasi di ba, para makita para kasama yon sa pag-assess sa kanilang performance, di ba? So, right now, wala kayong ganong requirement. Tama ba ako?
Meron po yung graduate tracer, pero yung graduate tracer po kasi limited lang, nagtrabaho ka ba o hindi, pero wala po siyang granularity. Pero may models na kami nakita sa selection po na magiging centers of excellence, kasama po yung employability item. Pero tama po kayo, the direction of the commission is dapat isama natin sa metrics ng performance yung employability. At
Oo,
meron na po
eh.
siyang 4 na parameters na tinitingnan ngayon.
Oo.
Dapat.
Oo, yun
Yeah,
na naman si
dapat.
dapat.
But again, we have to
Oo. Yes. So sana
Nag-draft na po yung,
so
sorry.
sana CHED takes their role as regulator of higher education institutions seriously. Kasi dati in the past, every time binabanggit ko na hindi ba kayo ang regulator ng HEIs in terms of at least standards, parang nire-reject nila kasi yung idea na yon. Ewan ko kung bakit. Pero di ba kayo naman yon? Di ba kayo naman dapat ang regulator nun? So, kasi parang sinasabi ninyo na ang bawat school may kanya-kanyang boards, etc., etc. Pero di ba dapat kayo yon? So sana ay gawin niyo yon. I know that it's a new set. Oo. So anyway, so salamat. We're hopeful that all of these things that we've talked about ay isa puso natin. Salamat, Mr. Chair.
With that, first, pero I want to thank everybody, yung DepEd, yung CHED, and yung TESDA, and everyone. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am Irene?
Good morning po everyone, Mr. Chair. Medyo nabitin lang po ako doon sa kanina pong pinupush po ng ating tatlong representative dito na kung kailan po i-implement yung pinopropose bill nila. Kasi bilang parents, no, nung lumabas yung parang issue sa Facebook na yung pinopose sila na bill na approved na daw po, na mag-e-exam na lang, mag-i-skip na tayo ng grade 1, 11 and 12. Very excited po ang mga parents po talaga. Sobrang natuwa sila na kasi burden po kasi talaga sa aming mga parents yung nadagdag na 2 years course, 2 years na senior high school. So ngayon nung nagkaroon ng ganong bill, nabigyan kami ng pag-asa na mababawasan. So baka pwedeng ma-consider nyo po or ma-implement po agad. At least kung kanina po, kung grade 11 po ang pinopropose sila, okay na po yun. Masaya na rin po ako kasi grade 11 na po ngayon yung anak ko.
Pero Ma'am Irene,
Po.
sa amin sa house, pasado na approve namin grade
Yun
10
nga po eh. Yun po yung
Pero
purpose
it
sa-
needs two houses. Pero ang tinatanong natin ngayon sa DepEd, can they consider
Yes
grade
po.
10 or 11 habang
Opo.
wala pa yung batas na magka-acceleration? Ang pinangako naman nila sa atin, they will take a look at that. Diba? And babalik
Kailan?
sila sa atin.
Kailan po kaya?
And Chair, kung
Sana po,
Weekly naman ang meetings namin dito eh.
And Chair, kung grade 11 man, ibig sabihin 1 year lang ang bawas, ang pinag-uusapan din natin is ang pagbawas din sa college.
yes.
Diba?
Oh, may
So,
bawas na rin kami sa
yes,
college.
So yung
ah.
2 years na pagbabawas ay pwedeng ihati
Yes,
sa college level at saka sa high school level.
And Ma'am Irene,
Po.
yun medyo committed na ang CHED
Hi, thank you.
at yung yung GE
May
subjects kasi, di ba? Yung GE subjects nila, tatanggalin na nila, lalagay na nila. So makakabawas na talaga doon. Ang question na lang is from the side of DepEd. Habang wala pa habang kami pa lang ang approved, baka pwede na nilang...
DepEd, umambag naman
Ma-
kayo sa pagbabawas,
DepEd.
DepEd.
Yes,
DepEd,
ma'am.
baka naman po i-consider nyo na po.
Yes, please state. Hindi ko na mabasa. Pasensya na. And
Hello
your
po.
affiliation.
Jenny po from Spark, Samahan ng Progresibong Kabataan. Sundan ko na lang din po yung regarding sa yung exam po, early exit ng from grade 10 or 11 tapos pwede nang dumiretso ng college. Kanina po, so part nung proposal ng curriculum ng senior high ay na yung mga iblang GE subjects sa college ay bababa na lang sa senior high. Tama po, 'di ba? Pero paano po yun, para mabawasan yung college years from 4 years to 3.5 na lang. Pero paano po yun dun sa students na kunwari pumasa dun sa exam, pwede na nila skip yung senior high. Paano yung mga subjects na, GE subjects na na-miss nila sa senior high school? Need pa ba nila i-take ulit yun to college?
Again, hindi na-discuss yan, pero probably kailangan. Kasi na-skip nila yung 11, 12. At least 2 taon o 1 year ang nawala pa rin sa kanila sa high school, di ba? I think hindi naman pwedeng lahat, di ba? Importante na reduce natin yung number para yung gastos ng magulang mabawasan din. But again, we will hold meetings every week or every 2 weeks. When can you come back with the 11, yung study ninyo on that 11 and yung sa TechVoc? Do you need 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Para patawag namin kayo kasi yun ang kailangan natin eh. hindi kami tumigil eh. Pag tumigil kami, mas stagnate tong usapan na to eh. Mm.
Sir Chair, may we haggle for 3 weeks kasi
3
opening the
weeks, fair enough.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Para makalegal kayo, you can go to OSG, di ba? Get a legal opinion. So in 3 weeks, Ma'am Irene, in 3 weeks, papatawag kami ulit ng meeting.
Okay po, Mr. Chair.
Okay?
Thank you po.
Except kung may ibang issue, pwedeng mapatawag next week ulit. Pero for the senior high school, in 3 weeks namin tatawagin yun.
Thank you po.
But again, to clarify, author kami, principal author kaming tatlo. Kami po, kahit i-check nyo, approve namin dito sa house yun.
Yes, yun nga po
Pasado
eh.
yun.
Kung
Walang
kumalat
issue
sa
sa amin yun.
social
Yes.
media,
Pasado namin yun.
tinatanong po sa
Yes.
amin. Pero,
But again, again, kung habang wala pa yun, let's see what DepEd can do on their own.
hopefully po, DepEd,
Yes.
may positive
And
feedback.
then you,
naman. Thank you.
may nag-usap din yung ito, they're working sila, Dr. Fermin, Dr. Levy, mas progressive na kaysa before. Oh, we have progressive in SHED now. So, I think we're moving there. Including DepEd. In fairness sa DepEd, in SHED, and TESDA. Ma'am Andrade, ang dami niyong nagawa talaga. Sa totoo lang. Pero stricto lang kami magtanong, pero sa totoo, medyo very cooperative, helpful. Ang dami niyo talaga na naitulong to move things forward. Kaya maraming salamat. Again, with that,
I move to adjourn this meeting.
there's a motion to adjourn. Is there any objections? Sharing none, same is approved. Maraming salamat. At salamat ng TESDA. After you're moving it.
Our chair was Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim of Malaysia. And I think the news releases or some of the material that has been produced for this meeting. The two main topics really were Myanmar and unilateral tariff schedules being imposed on the different countries, ASEAN member states. In terms of Myanmar, I think we have it's something that a couple of us actually, member states in ASEAN have been going to ASEAN and saying what we tried to do was with the 5 points of consensus that was agreed with between ASEAN and Myanmar. Not only has that improved the situation, has it not improved the situation? If we are to be very pragmatic or clear-eyed is the term that I use about it, it's clear that in fact the situation has gotten worse, and therefore it is very important. It is critical to realize that, to recognize that, and to try something different. And so Malaysia, before this meeting, had already started trying to make contact with the different stakeholders in Myanmar to try and get a feel of what needs to be done and how they can bring, at the very first, is a ceasefire and a humanitarian, to allow humanitarian aid to come in, and certainly the other countries that are deeply affected, such as Thailand and Indonesia and Malaysia, the identification and return of the refugees who ran to their countries when the war started. So what the Philippines propose, because in any analysis, this problem is not going to be solved in a year's time. And so I proposed to PM Anwar, which he agreed with, is that let us come to an agreement that since I am the chair for next year, that we should you should not limit yourself to making commitments or entering into agreements that may last beyond your chairmanship. Because so long as you and I agree, you, PM Anwar, and me, we agree on the principle of what you're committing to for ASEAN and for with Myanmar, and even if it continues beyond your chairmanship, we will pick it up when we become chairman, and we will build on that. So that's simply a new concept, because every time we have talked about Myanmar, we start again every single time. I've seen it in the past ASEAN conferences. So I think that there's new thinking now when it comes to Myanmar, and with the upcoming elections in Myanmar, there may be a hope of stability. It's a ceasefire first that we want, because the humanitarian cost is has become very, very large, and we cannot see the stakeholders in Myanmar managing to find any kind of common ground. And I'm not talking about government and the opposition. Even within the opposition, they're still squabbling, they're factionalized. So it's become quite involved and very complicated. Malaysia has appointed a special envoy to work on this, and we actually have been in consultation with Malaysia since early this year. Concerning this, I sent a special representative upon the request of Prime Minister Anwar. So that's the new approach that we are going to bring to the problems in Myanmar. As to the second subject, which is the unilateral tariff regime that is being posed on many member countries. Well, first of all, we're trying to compare each other's situation. Kasi yung ibang ASEAN members, ang laki-laki ng tariff nila. All the way ranging from 40 hanggang sa 10%. Sa Singapore, pinakabababa. Tayo nga mabuti-buti. We're second from the bottom with 17%. Pero tinitingnan kasi ang sinasabi ko nga sa kanila, okay, kung yung mga kung negosyante ka, pwede sasabihin advantage sa atin ito. Dahil kaunti lang yung tariff sa atin, mag-export tayo, di ba? Imbis na sila mag-export, dalhin nila rito yung pabrika, whatever it is, and then dito so 17% lang ang tariff. Pero kung isipin mo, kung you keep thinking about this, who do we do business with? ASEAN. Kung bagsak sila, who do we do business with? Kung bumibili sila ng 100 tons of, I don't know, coconut every year, every month, whatever the number is. Tapos humina ang kanilang ekonomiya, they can only buy 20. What will we do with the remainder? Hahan naman tayo ng markets. But if everybody is down, then everybody's markets will shrink. So this is a real problem. I also had actually good conversation with the premier of China, and I asked him, Premier, what do you think this will be? He says, well, we do not want any of this. They don't want this war. And I said, we're very worried because China is the biggest economic driver in the region. And of course, we watch very closely what is happening to the economy in China because it affects all of us. Because again, we trade with China. We have many investments in China and we have many Chinese investments in the Philippines. So talagang kung makita mo, walang kung matuloy itong regime na unilaterally imposed. Talagang babagsak. It has a global effect, and it is not going to be a good one. There will be, I believe, a shrinkage in economic activity. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But so ang aming laging pinag-usapan, what will happen after the 90 days pause is over, and that's what we will. And basically, we're just guessing. We don't know. We don't know what will happen between now and July when the 90 days runs out. We don't know how it will be different from each one country to the other. The reason I asked the premier of China is because sabi ko, you're the center of attention. So I wanted to see what your insights were. But we are in agreement, and I in the side discussions, it was not in open session, but in the side discussions, I was telling the other leaders, I said, what we have to recognize is that kahit ano pang mangyari, kahit ibalik, bura lahat, rewind lahat, back to what it was in January. Tomorrow, nangyari tomorrow, we're back to square one. Tungkol sa tariff, meron ng permanent effect na hindi na mawawala. May effect nung pag-impose ng tariff schedule na hindi na mawawala. Nandyan na. Just the risk assessment for any businesses and any investment is changed now. Because this can happen. Pwede palang mangyari ito. So yung risk assessment magbabago. So I was telling all the others, what we have to do is to identify what those changes are going to be. Is it damaging, or is it to our advantage, or is it something that we can maximize? And that's how we need to adjust. Because whatever else happens, this will change, this is changing, this will change, this has changed. First of all, the structure of world trade is completely different now from what it was before. The conclusion also that we arrived at is that we have to depend more on each other, on ASEAN. ASEAN, malakas naman ang loob namin sa ASEAN member countries. The economies are vibrant, masigla ang kanilang mga ekonomiya, masigla ang ating ekonomiya. Kaya't kailan maaari naman natin gawin, sabihin natin kung nahihirapan yung iba, tayo na lang muna mag-usap-usap. If we cannot sell to these markets anymore, then let's sell to each other's markets. But it seems that the best, most solid way forward is to be a reliable partner for each other in ASEAN, and it's impossible for anyone to disagree because that is the obvious. That's the obvious answer. So that's more or less what we did on those two subjects. The other feature that we didn't have in previous ASEAN meetings was the GCC, which I think is a very, very good idea. Plus the GCC China trilateral meeting. If you put these groups together, just start with the GCC and ASEAN, you put that together, that is a very important economic bloc. And if we come to a good arrangement, then that will be a rival to any kind of economic bloc anywhere in the world. And that is well recognized. Of course, as they say, the devil's in the details, so that has to be worked out. Each country has a different approach. Each country has a different context, in different situation that they have to work within. So that's something, but conceptually anyway, in terms of principle, we all agreed on that. And the same thing applies with the trilateral with GCC and China and ASEAN. Talagang pag pinagsama mo lahat yan, this is a very large part of the world population and certainly a very large part of the world's wealth and economic activity and growing economic activity, energetic economic activity. So that I think was a very good initiative by PM Anwar, and I think I'm even if we do not, kahit na hindi tayo makabuo ng agreement ASEAN GCC, this is a big opportunity for member countries of GCC, member countries of ASEAN to interact and to find ways to find some things to do. The same thing with China. So I think it is also in response again to the instabilities that we all are worried about on the global economy. You're trying to strengthen different groups instead of talking only about the EU, only talking about the United States or North America. We now have to think about other places that will develop their own markets, that we can invest in, that can invest in us, that we can trade with. And that's pretty much that's pretty much a quick thumbnail sketch of all the things that we spoke about. Of course, there were all the bilaterals, which, as you know, are usually active, and we had a few of them. I just came out of one with the Crown Prince of Kuwait. So again, those bilateral contacts are very, very important, and we of course continue to encourage that. We spoke with both Thailand and Cambodia about opening up access to their markets for certain Philippine products. And we spoke now with Kuwait about the interaction between the Philippines and Kuwait and how they would like to, how grateful they are for the contribution that our OFWs have done to the development of their country. And they have been very kind to us. And so, although this is more or less what happened in the past couple of days.
Hi sir, good evening. Sir, kanina nabanggit po ni Minda Secretary Tereso yung about po sa 300 million from the ADP. 400 million, sorry. Sir, gaano kalaking bagay po ito sa development po ng Mindanao?
Oh, malaki. Malaki. At ang ADB, this was part of the BIMP-YAGA discussion. At the ADB made commitments, as it has always done, because ADB is really our counselor when it comes to the BIMP-YAGA projects. $400 million, as if you put together with the downstream effects of that. And the reason that the ADB, because we can see that there will be very advantageous downstream effects to that, is a big deal. Especially Mindanao actually is I think if we are going to shepherd it and to help it be as successful and do everything we can to make BARM successful. We always talk about land of promise that we never were able to see the promise of. I think there's a chance now that we will, because there's no more fighting. Well, there's some criminality, but it's not the large scale fighting like we had during the secessionist war. So malaki ang ano ko sa malaki ang kumpiyansa ko sa pagbulusok ng Mindanao. And ADB has always been there, but also OIC, the Organization of Islamic Countries, Malaysia has always been very Japan has always been very present. ADB has always been very present. So even the EU has always been part of the peace process, and now the investment into BARM. So I hold great hope for the future of BARM, for the future of Mindanao.
So one more lang po. So during your intervention sa plenary session po, nabanggit niyo po yung pag-push sa Code of Conduct sa South China Sea.
Push ng
Code of Conduct po sa South China
I
Sea.
always push the Code of Conduct. Always. It's critical to everything that's happening. You know, if you Code of Conduct, essentially, freeze frame muna. Okay, hanggang dyan na lang tayo. Wag na nating palalain. Tapos yan, kung usap tayo, that will contain mechanisms also of adjudication, or trying to de-escalation processes. Kasama lahat yan. So I think that I think it's well recognized. It's not just the Philippines who feels that way. Everyone in ASEAN feels that way. Everyone in Asia feels that way.
Sir, just want to ask more details about your conversation with the Chinese premier. Did you talk about the situation in the West Philippine Sea?
No, I only spoke to him. He was sat. It wasn't in a meeting. He was sitting next to me at lunch. I was sitting next to the Chinese premier and the foreign minister of UAE.
Or at least, did you get any commitment po from the Chinese side on your call to...
Wala. Tinanong ko lang sa kanya, sabi, I just want, what is the Chinese perspective of this new unilateral tariff schedule? And he says, well, Mr. Trump has seems to have his own idea, but we certainly do not want this to continue. It's not good for everyone. We don't want this. So that's we were just walking along. Hindi kami nakaupo na nag-usap ng ganun. But I was very, very curious to get a little bit beyond the party line, because we've heard what China says on TV, dun sa mga nila. But to be able to get the chance to talk to the premier, I thought I was hoping to get. And yun ganun din. I think, yes, you can see that it's sincere on their part that they do not want this. They do not want this to carry on. They want everything to be normalized.
DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla yesterday said that nakapili na kayo ng bagong chief PNP. Is it true? Kung totoo, Mr. President, sino po siya?
Actually, it's oh God, it's the answer is more complicated than that. As ever, I would rather not use this forum to announce that. I think I should talk to them first, because the official decision has not been made. They should hear of it. Whoever it is should hear about it first from me, not through the news. But yes, we're very clear on what we're going to do next.
Clarify ko lang po, Mr. President. May napili na po kayo? May napili na po kayo? Meron na po. Talking about peace and order, security, Mr. President, ano po yung magiging marching orders niyo doon sa bagong Chief PNP? Especially na gusto niyo i-intensify yung police visibility sa mga kalye.
Well, what will I tell the new chief PNP? The new chief PNP is a very senior officer in the PNP. He knows the situation, and I will actually tell them, carry on what you are doing, because we have very good statistics concerning crime. And for example, there's a report here: Metro Manila crime rate is down by 23% in 6 months. If we are going to look here at the crime result at the national level, where are the index crimes? Eto. From the period of last year, same period last year, ito na lang, focus ka kasi ayokong basahin lahat. So 15,156 last year in the period of January 1 to May 16. And the period from January 1 to May 16 of 2025, it went down from 15,156 to 11,493. That minus lahat, when you make that comparison of January 1st to May 16 of last year to this year, everything, murder, homicide, physical injury, robbery, theft, rape, carnapping, all went down. So they must be doing something right. Now, what we have been talking about is making policemen more visible. This is to make people feel safer. I perfectly understand that. That basta, kahit papano may pulis dyan, may umiikot dito na pulis, konting sigaw lang, tatakbo na yan. That's important. It's important to people. So despite the fact that maraming maganda namang result na statistic, na maganda naman ang nagiging trabaho ng kapulisan natin in terms of law enforcement, kailangan din hindi sapat na marami tayong nababawasan natin yung krimen. Kailangan nakikita yung pulis para feeling safe naman yung mga tao. That's why this new program on the beat has been initiated.
Mr. President, one last thing na lang on my part. Doon sa podcast ninyo, narinig ko doon sa pagkakasabi nyo, yung 5-minute immediate police response. Will you please expound on that, Mr. President?
Well, first of all, we have been working we've been working since last year on this. It's not so easy, but it's good to centralize the emergency calling. And right now, actually, the response time, meron ba tayong response time dito? Yung response time natin bumaba na rin, especially in the urban areas. Siguro, of course, wala. There are no statistics here. No. So we're trying to centralize the emergency calls. So pagtatawag ka ng emergency, tapos isa lang yung number. Kasi bawat bayan, halos bawat probinsya may sarili. So we'll centralize it para maging mas mabilis at diretso kaagad makadispatch siya ng pulis pagka may problema, kapag may gulo. So we're hoping that, at least in the urban areas, that we're hoping 5 minutes. That's the aspiration once again. I hope. I think naman if we have the cops on the beat and they're in good direct communication with their dispatchador, then that will be the system that will be a good quick response. Pero kailangan mabuo ang system. One of the problems with the emergency call system is the statistic that about 70% are prank calls. So that's why we have to see how we can minimize that.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, good-
Last Friday, Executive Secretary Bersamin announced that he did not accept his resignation and that the economic managers were retained, and there were other movements that were announced. The Executive Secretary also said that there would be new announcements on movements by tomorrow. Would you like to share with us?
Nope, not yet. Not yet. I'll share with you one thing. That as we were doing the performance review, and when we see shortfalls in performance, I don't leave it at that. I look and ask, why is that the case? And that is why we asked all the heads of agencies to also submit their courtesy resignations, because we have to look at deeper, not just look at the secretary. The secretaries, I think, all of them. Some have to be moved around. Some have chosen to leave, or no longer think they can contribute. But in any case, we are looking at the problem deeply. Siguro by now, I don't do things pang optics. If there is a problem, I like to fix it. So that's what we are doing. So expect us to be doing a rigorous performance review, not only at the cabinet level, but even deeper.
Related lang po dun sa sagot ni sir, kung pwede lang po.
Okay, sige.
Apo. Sir, you already mentioned that you don't do things for optics. That was the criticism of some of your detractors who are allied with the former President Duterte. And they also said that the resignations are not necessary and that they want you instead to resign. How do you want to respond to that? Or if you
I will resign.
Yeah, that's what they want.
Ba't ko gagawin yun? At wala sa ugali ko yung tinatakbuhan ng problema.
Magandang gabi po, Mr. President. Sir, you mentioned during your podcast na sawa na yung mga tao sa politika, and yet next week magsisimula na po yung impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte.
I'm
How
not
could-
sure I see the train of thought there. Sawa ang tao ng politika pero may impeachment.
Yes, sir, because it's a political proceeding. So do you see this as a start of another political chaos?
The legislators, the senators, and the House are going to decide on how to handle it. I don't think that they've made any decisions yet in that regard. So let's let it's nasa kanila yan eh. Mostly sa Senado, pero siyempre nandyan pa rin ang House dahil sila So they will have to decide between the two houses how they were going to conduct this. I was part of the Corona impeachment. We were making rules as we went along, and I think that's what will happen here too. So we'll see what happens.
Sir, I understand malinaw naman po yung pahayag nyo that you have nothing to do with the impeachment trial. But do you wish na sana hindi na lang ito mangyari so as hindi na lang
How many times we have to say that? I didn't want impeachment. Lahat ng kakampi ko sa Kongreso hindi nag-file ng impeachment complaint. Yung mga nag-file ng impeachment complaint, hindi mo masasabing kaya kong utusan o pagsabihan na ito yung gagawin mo. So, why do I have to keep explaining that I did not want impeachment?
Mr. President, again, this is in reference to your interview in the podcast where you said that you're open to reconciling with the Dutertes. And after you said that, certain conditions were floated. For example,
Bongo said, no. That's not how reconciliation works. You don't put conditions to reconcile. If you're sincere, you want to reconcile, let's sit in front of you. Ano ba talaga problema? Paano nangyari ito? Tanggalin natin ang problema. Pero sasabihin mo, hindi ako makikipag-usap hanggang ibigay mo sa akin ito. Wala pupuntahan na.
and that condition.
Tapos na. That's not reconciliation. That's not even a negotiation. That's demanding. Those are setting conditions. That, So, ano sasagutin ng kabila? Etong gagawin mo. Sasagutin mo, hindi. Gagawin ko yan kung gawin mo naman ito. Wala nang pupuntahan yun. Tapos na ang usapan.
So, how far are you willing to go, Mr. President, to pursue this reconciliation?
Put it this way. I don't know. What will come up? What's needed? Kaya ko bang gawin? Hindi ko kayang gawin. Hindi naman ganun. You cannot prejudge at I'm going to talk to them only this much. Hindi. Kailangan sinasabi ko nga bukas ka eh. Kahit anong sabihin mo, pakikinggan ko. Kung talagang tapat ako na nais ko mag-reconcile, isipin ko lang, lahat ng hiningi mo, lahat ng hinanakit mo, kung kaya ko ayusin, ayusin ko para tapos na to. Ayoko nga ng kaaway.
Good evening po, Mr. President. Any update po doon sa effort ho ng pamahalaan na may abot ho sa lahat ng mga Pilipino yung 20 pesos kada kilong bigas at kamusta ho yung pagtanggap dito ng mga Pilipino, ang mga mamamayan po?
Well, so hindi naman nakakagulat na siyempre tuwan-tuwa yung mga qualified na tumanggap kaya tinutuloy natin yan. Yung mga nagsasabi, hindi, ano lang yan, medyo, ano lang yan, pampapogi lang yan, pang cosmetic lang yan. Well, they're fair to have that opinion, but kung it's unsustainable, it's really the what people are saying. Watch me sustain it. And then we'll talk in May of 2028. Natuloy ba o hindi? We found a way to do it. We could not do it before. Hindi kaya kasi hindi pa kaya ng sistema. Iba pa yung presyo ng bigas noon. Hindi pa tayo kaya yung mga bilateral na ginagawa namin, we're making deals with different countries para yung presyo mapako na hindi pa bago-bago. Kahit anong mangyari down the road, nagawa na ngayon natin. Wala tayong ganun noon eh. Ngayon meron na. Kaya't kaya na natin gawin yung 20 pesos. And other things that DA is able to sell rice, the prices come down. But at the same time, on the other side, tinitiyak natin na ang pagbili, ang presyo na pagbili sa farmers, magandang presyo naman. Para naman yung farmers natin, magandang kanilang hanap buhay. And the difference there, that's what the government is paying for.
Sir, according to the latest Pulse Asia survey, your trust rating is significantly lower than that of Vice President Sara Duterte and former President Duterte. And the previous surveys also showed a pattern of decline in your ratings. Can we get a
Wait, what survey?
Pulse Asia, sir.
Pulse?
Yes. Can we get your comment on that?
Madami pang survey, just don't base it on one.
Sir, follow-up lot. How do you plan to arrest yung decline in your surveys?
Well, again, let's look at other surveys before we act. know your source. That's always a imperfect information makes you make imperfect decisions. The more perfect your information, the more perfect your decision will be. That is one source of information, and you have to understand where it's actually coming from. All right?